Everybody, it is the Mike Missanelli Show, live on remote today. So if you're watching us on YouTube, we aren't on YouTube today, right?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, we are on YouTube? We are on YouTube. All right, so welcome to everybody checking in on the show. We are live at the Rally House in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. A big Rally House store here today, a very busy store. A lot of people hopefully can come by and say hello as we do this show on a football Friday. It's a big day for Eagle fans. This is the last chance you have to evaluate what is going to happen on Sunday. I think that the majority of Eagle fans are confident that the Eagles win this game. The line has gone up to 5, and we'll go over the matchups. And we welcome back Bill Colarulo, who's had the last couple days a little under the weather. Bill, how you feeling? I know your voice is not the perfect voice, but you're going to push through. You're tough.
This time of year, a lot of people are playing hurt, Mike, me included, but you push through for the importance of the time of year, the show. I'm a team player, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we have the whole crew here. We're set up very nicely as soon as you come into the Rally House. We're to the right, so if you want to stop by and watch a little of the show, say hello. I know a lot of people want me to comment on what happened last night in the college football game. I'll get to that in a second. Am I heartbroken? Well, first of all, let me just say this. Congratulations to all the Notre Dame fans that I badgered yesterday as being frauds. But Notre Dame was the better team yesterday. And I know a lot of Penn State people don't want to believe that, but they were. They made more plays than Penn State did. And unfortunately for Penn State, the quarterback is the most important position on the field. The kid that played for Penn State was not ready for the big moment. And I was astonished to see that he wasn't ready for the big moment. And if they get regular quarterback play, Penn State probably wins that game. But they didn't win the game, and it's another season where they won't play for a national championship. So if you would like to call the show today about that, that's fine. And you want to, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you want to gloat, that's fine. I'll take it. I watched that game last night, and I just, it was hard for me to believe that a quarterback who's been playing 3 years now in college football would make a foolish mistake in the middle of the field at the worst possible time, which showed he had no awareness whatsoever. And I know people want to have, James Franklin, yeah, listen, James Franklin didn't lose that game. Now maybe the offensive coordinator didn't scheme up the right passing game, because when you go through a game that you should have won, where your wide receivers don't catch one frickin' pass, there's something wrong with the way you're scheming. But at the end of the day, it's the quarterback who came up really small for Penn State. So, that's it. Now let's talk about the Eagles, Bill. The Eagles and the Green Bay Packers. The Eagles, I have all these stats here, and I'm looking at the stats, and the Eagles have a decided advantage as far as rank goes in offense and defense and home and away and even coaching. But I saw this stat which is really interesting on 4th down. You know you're going to get to a 4th down decision making. Your boy, Nick Sirianni, rates as well above average in 4th down decision making. The other guy grades out below average. So if you get to a situation where the Eagles are in the 4th down, Green Bay's in the 4th down, the Eagles have a decided advantage. They usually convert that 4th down, no matter if they have to use the tush push or use a play. They're really good at it. And that gives a team a lot of confidence to play an entire series of downs. We don't have to worry about punting the ball away if you get into a 4th and 2 area. So to me, that's an underrated factor in this game. The big factor is the Eagles are just better. And the only question that we have to decide is whether the quarterback is going to come out if they're not playing in a while, and how they're going to treat that. Will they ease him into it, or they say, you know what, Green Bay's expecting us to ease him into it. Let's throw the ball right away. Let's get A.J. Brown involved right away. They're expecting Saquon to carry the first 4 times. So let's do something different. So how do you see this game, Bill, as we stand right now with the Eagles as a comfortable 5-point favorite?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. The Eagles are by far the better team across the board on paper. I don't think there's a single place at any position where you would say the Packers are better. Maybe Xavier McKinney at safety is better than Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship. Other than that, they got the better offensive line, the better defensive line, the better linebacker core, the better receivers. I think you could even argue they have the better quarterback, even though Jalen Hurts may be rusty headed into this game. And they certainly have the better running back, as good as Josh Jacobs is. For me, when you are the better team across the board, the only way you can keep a team in it is with turnovers. And we saw that in Sao Paulo, first game of the year. The Eagles turned the ball over 3 times. If they don't turn the football over like they haven't been doing, I don't see how the Green Bay Packers can stay in this football game. So that's the key for me. Don't turn the ball over. I'm not worried about Jalen Hurts being rusty, because if you have to lean on Saquon, you know you have the ability to do that. Now, you just mentioned, though, do they go to A.J. Brown? Hasn't practiced the last couple days, Mike. I don't know how big of a deal that's going to be, but when we talk about rust, you don't have Jalen Hurts practicing for 2 weeks. He comes back this week, but now you don't have A.J. Brown practicing. So are they going to be in lockstep? They have enough time together over the last couple of years. I'm not as worried about that. But I just think better football team, protect the football. They should win this game easily.
All right, the Packers have the 24th ranked. Tell it that they can play cozy at home, but when we're on the road, that they're not as formidable, and I think that just is also a major factor in this game. All right, so we'll take a break. Ray Dunn is back at the studio producing. We've got Brandon here with the YouTube action.
Yeah, YouTube apparently, not only because my voice doesn't sound good, apparently YouTube's complaining that the sound isn't great. So we're working on it, trying to get the YouTube sound better.
And we've got our engineer, a youngin, named Matt, who is Rodney. Of course, Rodney, the great engineer, the legendary engineer for Beasley's radio stations, his nephew. So we know we're in good hands here.
Yeah, we're in good hands. And you mentioned we're at Rally House. I did a little tour of the store before we started the show. Dude, there's some incredible stuff here. Obviously, Eagles gear, but every single local team. This is a great store.
It is a great store. From what I understand, they had workers in early this morning replacing the Penn State racks with Notre Dame stuff. The Penn State racks have been placed on a lower rung and are probably on a sale rack. At this point.
Well, they're in the back of the store, so you don't have to see it.
All right, so here's how you get in. 610-632-0975, 610-632-0975. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to talk about the college game last night, you heartbroken Penn State fans, you gleeful Notre Dame fans, perfectly fine to talk to us about it. But give me your handicap and your analysis
where you go, wherever you travel to, that's something that's going to translate over to knows the Eagles. You'd be hard-pressed to find a weakness on this Eagles team. I think right now they're the healthiest team, but they're also the one with the least.
right? And I was thinking about how it benefited all the weasels that work at 97.5, the Fanatic, all the Temple weasels that were just absolutely gleeful. I just imagine Kincade jumping around like he was on a trampoline in his living room, and Ray Dunn, who likes to hide his Penn State hate, but he was probably gleeful as well. Who else? What other the Temple with? Are they the Rutgers weasels, the jealous Rutgers weasels that we have at 97.5? So I was thinking of them having a good night rather than my misery.
You are a very selfless person, Mike. I
Yeah,
have to give you credit for that.
I am.
But listen, I was rooting for Penn State last night. I texted you before the game. I wanted to see Penn State win because at least the Penn State fans have an affiliation with the school. The Notre Dame fans, we still haven't been able to put our finger on it. I was reading some things about it. It's because, going way back, the Irish Catholics were discriminated against, so that's why they all went into the Notre Dame and rooted for Notre Dame. So if that's true, then I give them credit for that.
Well, I went into the history lesson of that yesterday on the show, and how the Notre Dame was actually founded by a priest who was a Frenchman, but he brought some Irish priests with him. So and they bought the land off Native Americans. So
I heard that part of the show.
Yeah, so it's whatever. It's that if that's what bonds it. If people need stuff to bond on, that's fine. If you want to bond, because you're an Irish Catholic and you love Notre Dame, that's fine. You won the game yesterday. I'm sitting here disarmed. I have nothing to say. I really have nothing to say. In fact, I'm going to add insult to my misery because what Ray Dunn? What did I ask you to do today? I asked him to get 2 particular calls from the end of that game last night, just so we could put it out there because it was exciting. Not for Penn State fans, but for Notre Dame fans. So, Ray, here's the Drew Aller, for some reason, trying to throw a pass in the middle of the field off his back foot with a rush in his face on a 2nd down when they're trying to get down the field and maybe get a game-winning field goal. You couldn't have made any kind of a worse decision than to throw the ball in the middle of the field off your back foot with a rush in your face to give them the ball almost in field goal position to win the game.
Let me ask you, though, were you okay with Franklin's decision to stay aggressive there? I thought that was the right call.
Not that call. Not down the field that far. Not in the middle of the field.
Well, that's the quarterback.
You got to chop it up to the sidelines. You got to negotiate your way down the field. You can't give it up there. You're at your own 28. You're going to throw a pass like that at your own 28.
So would you have stayed conservative?
No, I would have thrown the ball, but not in the middle of the field, and certainly not make a choice to throw it when somebody's in my face when I can't get much on it. That's the quarterback's problem. Now, that probably was his 3rd option. I don't know. That couldn't have been the play. He just panicked and threw it. You got to give a guy a script. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go 10 yards here. We're going to go 11 yards here. We're going to inch our way down. We got timeouts. We can spike it. Well, all we have to do is get to the 35. That's our mission. There is no reason to throw a pass like that. The quarterback panicked, and he's a 3rd-year quarterback now, and it's disheartening.
Yeah, it was disheartening. I was very shocked, not only at that play. You go back to that first half, I think if Drew Aller had played a little bit better in the first half, it's not even a close game.
He missed 5 receivers in the first half. He wasn't ready for the moment. He was nervous. And I go, okay, if you're a young quarterback, he's the 3rd-year quarterback. They were talking about him going into the draft this year. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
it's disgraceful, really.
Penn State was dominating that first half. It didn't look like Notre Dame could do much, and they were controlling both lines of scrimmage. It's a shame. It's one that got away from Penn State.
What did I say? You weren't here yesterday, but I said I picked Notre Dame for one reason. I thought Notre Dame would win the game for one reason. Because Penn State's wide receivers aren't impactful enough to impact the game. They didn't get a catch. The wide receivers in the game didn't get a catch.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens, man.
I don't know how that's even possible.
All right. So now let's go. The coup de grace. Here it is, the dagger. The final dagger, Ray. There they go. They set it up for the game winner. And this kid, he's got his family. They got the camera on his family. His father's got the cell phone out recording this moment. And here comes the kick, the winning kick from what's the kid's name? Mitch somebody. I don't know. Go ahead, Mitch. Knock yourself out. Here it is.
Good snap, good hold, kick on its way, and the kick is good! Mitch Jeter, with 7 seconds left, gives the Irish a lead, 27-24.
There you go. Mitch Jeter.
Yeah, no relation to Derek.
Congratulations to Notre Dame. All
Man,
right.
The pain in
I
your
got
voice.
it out. I got it out. I had to get this out right away. Boom, it's over now.
Well, hopefully the
All
Eagles,
right.
Eagles will make you feel better.
Well, the Eagles are going to make me feel better. Well, what did I say, though? I mean, you asked me that question. What would I rather have? The Eagles win the Super Bowl or Penn State win the national championship?
Yeah, you went with the Eagles.
I think Penn State was going to win the national championship anyway. They were going to get hammered by the next team they played unless Texas upset Ohio State. So at least I was spared the embarrassment of that.
You think Notre Dame gets routed by Ohio State?
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be. They're definitely going to be big underdogs, I would assume.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any lines out
Unless
yet.
Texas somehow upsets Ohio State, and then all bets are off. 610-632-0975. Let me hear what you have to say. Eagles, Packers on Sunday. I'm done talking about Penn State unless Penn Staters or Notre Damers want to talk about it. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. We are live from Rally House in Willow Grove. Stop by and say hello. 26, Mike Missanelli Show, live from Rally House in Willow Grove today as we continue to look at the Eagles and the Packers on Sunday. Just a little numbers game want to play here, Bill. So total yards per game, the Eagles overall ranked 8th. The Packers, let's see.
5th.
5th?
Yep.
All right, 5th.
Very close, though. Eagles
It
average
is very
367, Packers 371.
All right, so the Eagles on points per game, 27.2, ranked 7th. The Packers, 27.1, ranked 8th. Pass yards per game for the Packers, that ranks 12th, 223.9. And rush yards per game, 146.8, ranks 5th. The Eagles' pass yards per game, 29th ranked. And their rush, of course, is number 2 in the league. So, but by that measure, the Eagles are going to have to run the ball. Their pass yards per game have been stifled pretty much this year. So how do you see this playing out, Bill, with those numbers?
I think you're going to get more of the same from the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to rely heavily on Saquon Barkley and that offensive line. I think they'll have a lot of success. Look, you got to also look deeper into who the teams have played. I know that argument sometimes is overused. But really, the Green Bay Packers, they've lost 2 games in a row. They lost to the Vikings. They lost to the Bears. They haven't beaten a playoff team going all the way back until week 7. They only beat 2 playoff teams this entire season. So some of these numbers could be skewed a little bit. So I think you're going to get more of the same from the Eagles on both sides of the ball. This defense should be able to shut down that Packers offense. I know it didn't work out that way in the first game of the year, but this is a completely different defense than you saw week 1 against the Packers.
Okay. Let's get the people on board right away. And, of course, our text board is open. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. Let's start it off. Greg is back with us. Greg, you're on, let's see, how do I punch this thing up? I go, like, right here? Greg? No, I'm not hit that.
I think
Greg, are you with it?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Greg. I got it.
Well, you need a little practice, it seems like.
Well, we're working on a different system here, so I got to do this off a laptop.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Hey, I wondered, I mean, obviously it depends on the circumstance, but let's say the Eagles are down by 2 points and they've got the ball late in the fourth quarter at the 35-yard line on 4th down. What do they do?
At the 35-yard line, they kick it.
Okay.
Well,
So
I know where you're going because that's a 52-yard field goal now, and he's made one of 50 yards this year. One of what, 7 from that distance. But I can't not show confidence in my kicker in that particular situation. Bill, I hear what he's saying that Elliott is just very skittish right now, so. Maybe you don't at the 35-yard line. I do it. That's 52. That would probably be my limit.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, too. What's the down and distance? If it's 4th and short, back to those numbers you gave us earlier where Sirianni makes the right decision more than the league average, maybe you're a little bit more aggressive knowing that Elliott has struggled. But I believe Sirianni when he says he has full confidence in Jake Elliott. I still think that they do. But it is interesting. I mean, it's a good point.
How much time on the clock here, Greg? Give me the scenario. What's going? What time of the game is it?
Well, I said, I said 2.5 minutes. Eagles are down by 2. It's the 4th down, 4th and 3. So it's too long to do a tush push. So they're kind of stuck with, are you going to kick it or are you going to go for it?
Yeah. Now now that I understand better. If you do not make that there, you give them really good field position to win the game and plenty of time left to win the game. So you might be right. I might not go for it there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation hopefully we won't have to face, but it's something we have to think about.
It is. No, that 35-yard line situation that you just mentioned was that threw me a little bit. So,
you know what threw me?
What's that?
That was a very coherent call from Greg.
Yeah.
Maybe it's still early.
You know, we talked about this yesterday. How confident would you feel if you like, what would be going through your head if the Eagles needed him to make a kick to tie the game in the last minute, or win the game?
Wait, now what game was it? Refresh my memory. We're only going back a couple of weeks where they needed a 50-something yarder, and Elliott hit it to take the lead. You remember the game I'm talking about? He just hit a big kick a couple of weeks ago to put them ahead in a football game.
50-yarder?
I think it was.
That was his max, 50-yard.
Yeah, what game was that? Because he came through. It was a big moment.
Mm-hmm.
They needed the kick, and he hit it. So
Yeah.
I think you got to go off of that and go off of his track record. I know it hasn't been a great
Awful
year.
cold, though.
It is going to be cold, and sometimes the wind is swirling weirdly down in Lincoln Financial Field. But I still have a hard time believing that this game is going to come down to a field goal. I just don't. Maybe next week, the week after, in the NFC Championship game, maybe. I just don't see this game being that close.
Well,
of
let's
a football
just play
game.
with the concept. They're at the 35-yard line. It's 4th and 3.
What's the score?
Tied.
Tie game, 4th and 3. Final 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think you got to kick the field goal there. I think you got to.
Yeah, I've changed it up.
52-yarder.
I've changed it up. If I don't have confidence that he can, I don't have 100% confidence in him now that he can make 50 plus. So what do? I've hamstrung my defense to lose the game because they wouldn't have. They would have to go 25 yards.
Yeah, because you'd give them the ball at the 45.
Yeah. So
or the 42.
Yeah. I'm making it easy for them. Now, I would not put my defense in a position. Now, if I don't get it at 4th and 3, then I give them the ball at the 30. Say I give it to them at the 32-yard line. Am I giving my defense a more of a fighting chance there, even if they stop me?
You are, but see, so wait, you're going for it or you're punting it?
I'm going for it. I'm not punting it. I'm going for it there. They come up. They stop me short. But even if they stop me short, I've now given them the ball at their own 32, which means they have to go a lot further than I would if I'm giving them close to midfield.
No, it's sound reasoning, and I understand where you're coming from. I just look at Jake Elliott. I know he hasn't had a great season kicking the ball from 50 plus, but one thing I think he's always been is clutch. And if you're telling me it's the last 2 minutes of a playoff game and Jake Elliott's coming on to kick a game-winning field goal, I think the clutch gene is stronger than you're giving it credit for. I think he nails it.
The clutch gene is diluted in kickers constantly.
Until he proves otherwise.
He has proved otherwise.
When has he missed a clutch kick that has cost them the game?
But we're talking about, like, his frame of reference from 50 this year has been terrible. Like, how do you erase that? Like, how does his clutch gene overcome the fact that he hasn't been able to utilize his clutch gene?
Yeah, I'm still sticking by my guy.
You're having him kick a 52-yarder in cold weather at that position, and if he misses it, you've now lost the game.
You also got to – I know that this isn't fun for the exercise we're doing, but you got to see how he was in warm-ups. If he's making 52-yard field goals in warm-ups at Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday, then I'm letting him kick it. If you're telling me his distance in warm-ups was only 50, no, you don't stretch it to 52. But if he was hitting them in warm-ups, I'm not going to say, he's not clutch enough. He's going to miss this kick.
All right. If they're at the 32, I kick it.
So 49-yarder.
Yes.
As long as it's under 50.
Yes.
What, you think it's like a mental thing?
You got to be a 30. 35, I go for it. 32, I kick it. Well, that's good analysis.
Yeah.
That's CEO Nick Sirianni. And by the way, you weren't here yesterday, but Sirianni wowed me in his presser.
Really?
It was the best Sirianni I've ever heard. Ray, we're going to have a snippet of that where he started. We did replay it where he started talking about connectivity. And it was so good, and I was so impressed by it. The most I've ever been impressed with Sirianni that I want to play it again.
See, now I'm not sure if you're being sarcastic.
I am not being sarcastic.
This is genuine?
Ray, am I being sarcastic?
He was talked on Wednesday, so I'm going to assume that you're not being sarcastic.
I would not being sarcastic with the Sirianni. Oh, yeah, it was Wednesday he did that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Wednesday.
All right.
The best Sirianni I've ever heard.
He's a good coach, Mike. Keep
Wow.
telling you.
610-632-0975. Yeah. He might be a good coach. I'm just commenting on the fact that what he addressed with his team's connectivity, I thought was really deep.
That's one of
All
his
right?
core
Now,
values.
Now he did mess it up because he should have had a mic drop after that. Instead, he had to go on and talk about his high school rivalry.
Oh, he did.
Which was the last thing he said, which diluted it a little bit, but we're not going to play that part of it. All right?
Yeah, Wednesday I was struggling. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, 610-632-0975 is how you get into the show. We have texts, we have calls, and we have somebody's questioning our field goal discussion just then. All right, we'll get into that. All this, Eagles and Packers, Football Friday. Our picks are coming up. Nick Sirianni's coming up. Don't go away. Yeah, the YouTube chat. Bill is not actually. Are you into the YouTube chat here?
Yeah,
You still got
I'm
the
in
YouTube chat going. You just don't have your computer.
Yeah, I got it on my
phone. On your phone.
They're just killing me with the voice.
And they're killing you because they're saying Mr. Healthman is the one that's suffering right now, and Mr. Gas station hot dog consumer has perfect health.
Yeah, one of my other favorites is I heard Dan Campbell had the plague and didn't miss a day of practice.
Yeah.
So they're really rubbing it in.
That's right, man. You got to play sick. Got to play hurt.
I can't do my Dan Campbell impression with this voice.
Yeah. Apparently, hot dogs give you immunity because I've been around a bunch of fungus in those studios, and I'm 100 years old. You know,
maybe I need to start hitting the hot dogs.
And here I am, the picture of health, as we sit here at Rally House. All right, Ray. Let's first of all get to the text with the violation question and the field goal situation.
All right, same texter here, first-time texter, checking in with a violation question. Taking a buddy to the Green Bay game, he's letting him wear his Eagles jersey. Is it a violation for him to wear his Barkley Penn State jersey to the Eagles-Packers game?
No. Why would that be a violation? Is that a violation because it's not an Eagles jersey?
So wearing Barkley's? No, you could wear Barkley's just because Penn State lost.
You're honoring Barkley.
Yeah, you're honoring Barkley.
You're honoring Barkley, who's now an Eagle. He's no longer a Penn Stater.
And he wasn't a part of the team that lost last night.
Right.
No, completely
No, it's
acceptable.
just celebrating the legend of Saquon Barkley now as an Eagle. You're just doing it with an older school uni.
Yeah, no violation.
Right? No violation on that.
And the follow-up text, I hope we don't have to rely on Elliott to get a game winner from 45.
See, people are afraid of Elliott. I'm not afraid of him from 45. I'm afraid of him from 50 because it's now in his head. You might think that's a small thing. Kickers are like I always say. They can go bad. They're like half and half. When you leave it in the refrigerator too long, you forget about it, and all of a sudden the expiration date is like 3 weeks past. Right? That's what kickers are. They go bad. They're like relief pitchers. So when you lose your confidence and when you're yanking stuff, when you miss, you're yanking, your stroke is off. And it's hard to get back the stroke. And so you start thinking about it. Is my stroke okay? Oh, by the way, I haven't really been good from this distance. All that clouds your head.
I still have confidence in the guy. And look.
How?
Because
I have confidence in the guy.
We haven't seen him in the last couple of weeks step up and miss a big kick. He's done it in the past. I know what you're saying. Kickers go bad quickly.
We're talking about 50-plus here. The argument has to be tailored. I'm not worried about him if he has to kick from 45. When you have to make a 52-yard kick, you're still confident.
I guess it depends on the situation. I mean, we were talking about under 2 minutes, 4th and 3. Do you try a 52-yarder? Oh, man. You know, you may be making me go the other way on this. I just want to keep my confidence in Jake.
Listen, that's at the 35-yard line, he's going to have to kick a 52-yarder in cold weather. And if you miss, you give them the game. Pretty much.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, the defense would have to
you can't, when the risk reward of that, if the stakes are that you can give the other team the game, just like Penn State did last night with that throw, you can't make a decision. Give the other team, make it easy for them to win the game. So therefore, at the 35, you have to go for it. At the 32, you kick it. Because then it's not his head. It's not 50-plus yards. It's 49. Oh, I can make this one.
Yeah, well, that's why Sirianni, Kellen Moore going into the game, you have to know what that number is because you're going to call the game differently. If you're on the 35-yard line on a third down, maybe you're not trying to even pick up a first down. You got to make sure we're going to get a few yards here.
You go 4 down territory there.
Yeah, or you know you're going for it. Yeah, no matter what.
All right. Before we get to the phones, before we get to more text, I got to let Bill hear from his hero, Nick Sirianni, who, to me, it was all Sirianni. It was an all Sirianni performance, an all-star performance. And he was asked about, so you've talked about this all the time. Oh, these guys, they play for him.
They do.
They play for Nick. And here's how he explained how connected this team is.
Connection in the NFL. Some guys live in Jersey, some guys live in Philly, some guys live in Mainline, right? Some guys live in Delco, like wherever. I don't want to leave anybody out. So there's some guys have families, some guys are single, some guys have girlfriends, so it's everybody's in a different stage a little bit in the NFL, so you have to work at that to create that. And I think that's what you appreciate so much of these guys is how much they've worked to connect with each other. Because I know this, at the end of the day, if you're a connected football team, it doesn't guarantee you win anything, but it guarantees that you don't want to let that person go. I want there to be joy when you walk in here and see their pictures on the walls and on the video screens, and want to be around and have success and root for the success of the other guys there. And so, but that doesn't happen. All those things that I just talked about doesn't happen without special people. And we have some special guys here that make that happen. Culture is your habits. Your habits are what happens by the team, and we have some special guys that accomplish that.
Look at that. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? The connectivity, creating a bond. And if you're connected, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but it guarantees you're not going to let your teammate down because you're connected to him.
I thought you said this was genuine.
It is genuine.
I thought your praise was going to be genuine.
It is genuine. It's the best of Sirianni I've ever heard.
You can't deny the results now, man. I mean, really, we can't deny the results. These guys play for this guy. And you can't win as many games as they're winning if what he is preaching isn't getting through to his players. So I can't tell if you're being genuine or not, even though you say you are. But it is working. The
now,
connectivity
if I wasn't
is
being
working.
genuine, would I have Ray have recorded that and we played it now several times as an example? That was inspiring to me. And he makes a great point. All these people come from all over. They have to be bonded in a certain way. Everybody is not different. Everybody then comes from all these areas and they come into one sphere. And you have to cultivate that sphere to be connected as a team.
See, what I was harping on was it sounds like he's really struggling to figure out other areas of this area because he's like, some people live in the city, some people live in Jersey, some people live
In the
mainline. Yeah, he struggles a little bit.
Yeah, where does he live?
He's a Haddonfield guy.
Oh, he lives in Jersey?
Yeah, he lives right near me.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad you revealed that.
Well, I don't live in Haddonfield, but I live very close.
You go and hang out, and then did you do any leaf collection in his backyard this year?
No, I did not.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. All right, let's take a break. Because, Ray, I want to play the other part of that where I'm going to play this. So I'm going to ask Bill if he went too far. Because that was a mic drop, and he didn't drop the mic. So we'll get what he said after that. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show live today from Rally House in Willow Grove. Stop by. 10:56. The Mike Missanelli Show. It's on 97.5 The Fanatic. We're live today, live remote, and we're also on YouTube. We're live at the Rally House in Willow Grove. You know, a nice gentleman just came in, and I don't know, does this make me a creep? He came in, he's wearing a Penn State sweatshirt. And he goes, I'm not giving up. I don't jump off the bandwagon. And I go, my feeling is this is not a day that you should wear a Penn State jersey. Now, am I just a cur, or is what I'm saying appropriate?
It's probably a little much. You've had too much heartbreak as a Penn State fan, I guess, because you do look back. It was a pretty special season for the Penn State.
Oh, yeah, stop.
Right, it was a good season.
No.
See, here's the benefit.
No,
you got to look at the silver lining. You've avoided getting embarrassed in the national championship game by Ohio State.
Oh, stop it. See,
So
now,
take that. Now you get to look and
now
say,
you're
man,
playing with me.
if Howler didn't throw that pass, what could have been? As opposed to, well, Ohio State.
In my opinion, you don't wear the Penn State sweatshirt today, right? Next week, you want to bring it back out, you can't wear it today.
So when would it be acceptable?
That makes you soft.
See, I think it takes courage to wear it
Doesn't
today.
take courage. It makes you soft. It's like, oh, no big deal. We're still Penn State fans. Blah blah blah. Come on, man. You blew a golden opportunity last night.
Look, we got
to play for the national championship.
We got a Penn State hat, and he just gave you the wave.
He did.
He just said,
that's all right. All right, and that's what Penn State fans do.
Yeah, they stay true to their team.
They
I
stay
respect
true.
it. I respect
They don't
it.
stay true. It's like they don't get hurt by it.
Like Eagles fans.
Yeah, well, no.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
maybe.
like Eagles fans.
I don't know. In any
it up.
event, this guy's angry with me. All right, yeah, I have my opinions on this, and see, when you don't take a loss like that hard and you just move on like it's nothing, to me that's wrong.
Joe Phillips, you're right.
All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's go. Who we got here? Is Andy from the airport still there?
Andy from the
No,
airport
we'll
is
go-
from our
we'll
YouTube
go-
chat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, he said he
How's
just
that?
put on YouTube that he's calling in.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go to Carlos then. Carlos, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Carlos?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hello, Carlos.
Warm up there, I hope.
Carlos, we can hardly hear you. So I don't know if you're on speaker or what.
All right, how about now?
All right, that's better.
Okay. Yeah, first I want to say you said hot dogs gives you immunity, and I like that one.
They do. I'm immunity from sickness. I had a gas station hot dog the other day, and it was medicinal, apparently.
You should try the water. It's even better.
Yeah.
But, going into this game, I'm kind of concerned, but then again, I'm not concerned. I'm going to tell you why. I heard you talk about the stats between both teams. You know, they're pretty neck and neck. I think both teams is going to have to just dig deep and just pull something out, man, to win this game. One of my concerns is Jalen Hurts coming out of, concussion protocol after 2 weeks off. Just want to make sure, hoping that he's going to be clicking on all cylinders.
That's a great point. That could be an underplayed factor in this whole thing.
Yeah, because he got 2 weeks off. I mean, I can see if it was just a regular game. We're going into a playoff game. We got to win or go home, So, but then another thing to work on our factor, too, is Alexander is not playing. So we might have a good time in the air on that, So those are my concerns with that, with being said with that. As far as, you were talking about the kicking, as far as the field goal, I don't have that much confidence in our punter, in our kicker right now, man, as I did, last year and the year before that. You're playing in the cold, you're playing in the wind, and you got to kick that ball. It's cold. It's like kicking a frozen turkey, 50, 55 yards. I don't have the confidence in them right now to do that.
Hey, listen, I got you. It's a good call by you. I have confidence in him if it's less than 50. I don't have a problem with it. If it's less than 50, if it's over 50, I got a problem. We'll see. Anyway, you're listening to WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. All right, we have a text on the concern in this game. So, Ray, what do we have here?
G's from Philly, are we being overconfident? We're talking about the same Jordan Love that was one drive away from knocking off San Fran last year. The stage will not be too big for him.
The stage will not be too big for Jordan Love.
Correct.
Why? Based off of what he did against Dallas? That's what they're talking about in the
Yeah, and
wild
said he was
card?
one drive away from knocking off San Francisco last year.
We're also not sure how healthy Jordan Love is. I mean, I know that they're saying that he's going to play, but when you have that nerve damage, which he may be having in his throwing hand, you don't know how that's going to impact him. I just don't see them having enough weapons offensively for Jordan Love, because we all know they lost Christian Watson. But you go back to their leading wide receiver, Jaden Reed. In the first game against the Eagles, Jaden Reed had 4 catches, 138 yards, and a touchdown. He had a 33-yard carry for a touchdown. But what was the major difference, Mike, between that game and now in the slot for the Philadelphia Eagles? You had Avonte Maddox starting at slot corner.
Yeah.
Now you got Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Eagles are all buttoned down. They really are. Right? And the numbers back it up. And, they did get the rest, the all-important rest that you wanted them to have against the Giants. They didn't play Saquon, a whole bit. So all the stars are in alignment for the Eagles. And the line up to 5, to me, is really a telling line. I mean, this started a little lower. It shot up. People are throwing money on the Eagles, although, interestingly enough, the Penn State line flipped last night. Did you see that?
No. Did
Yeah,
Penn State become a
went
favorite?
off as a favorite last night.
Interesting.
And that was encouraging to me, because the money, that sharp money usually comes in and it backs the right side, but it didn't work out there. But 5 points also is a very iffy line as far as a cover. So it is possible Green Bay loses this game by 3, and if you have to Green Bay, you'll win.
Yeah, I mean, because the Eagles could be up by 10, and Green Bay gets a late touchdown, and now it's a late cover.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting as far as that goes. I just think that they don't have enough weapons. I think this Eagles defense we know they're the best defense in the NFL. I just see them shutting down. You take away Josh Jacobs in the running game, which isn't easy to do, but if you take away Josh Jacobs, I don't see them having enough other weapons to keep up with the Eagles team.
Let's just go over the numbers here. The Eagles allowed 278.4 a game, first in the league. They give up 17.8 points, second in the league. They give up only 174.2 pass yards per game, first in the league. Rush yards, all right, they're 10th at 104, but the Green Bay running attack is not that great. So all the metrics say that the Eagles win this game, and defensively, you look at the defensive numbers, you look at the defensive numbers when they're at home, and you compare them to Green Bay. Green Bay fairly comparable, but we're talking about ranked number 1, number 2, and number 1 in certain categories. So I don't know. I really don't have any worry in this game at all, and I hate to say that because people go, you can't be overconfident. Well, I kind of am.
I think most Eagles fans are. I mean, I saw yesterday that the price of tickets is actually not as high as previous years. I think most fans are looking at this saying, you know what? We'll spend our money next week. We'll go to the divisional round game. I think a lot of fans feel confident about this game. But there's another area we haven't talked about. We talked about the kicking game in terms of field goal. The one area that maybe could be a concern is Nixon, the returner for the Packers. He's a very good returner. He's a 2-time first-team All-Pro. And you saw the Eagles' kickoff coverage left a little bit to be desired against the Commanders. It was a big part of the reason they lost that football game. You just can't when you're a better team, I talked about turnovers being one of them, you can't lose in the return game either. That's the only way that an inferior team stays in a game.
Yeah, all right, 610-632-0975. Let's get to Andy at the airport. What airport are you at? Andy, where are you?
No, I'm at the Philly airport. Good morning, Mike and Bill and Ray.
Good morning, Andy.
I'm doing well. I'm feeling a little bit like maybe Greg or Mitch today because my flight's been canceled and I've been.
Oh no.
I just wanted to let you know I got some. Bill, first of all, thanks for coming in today. You're a trooper, working on Thanksgiving and then still making it to work today, being sick.
Nah, I'm trying, man.
And
Yeah, it's all good. You're doing awesome. And you know me on the YouTube chat as Andrew, but also, Ray, I have a couple gals sitting here at the bar, and I need some pickup lines. So if you do me a favor, shoot me a message on that one. I'm not too good with the ladies, but I know I can count on Ray for that. But hey, Mike, let me ask you something.
Yes.
I'm watching the game last night, and Aller throws that crazy pick, and I'm thinking of you because I'm a Penn State guy myself, and I was thinking you probably threw your glass of Merlot through the window or something. And I'm like, I said, golly, why does he even throw it there? It's so crazy, right? But I'd like to give a little bit of a positive Football Friday. I'm in the airport. I'm got to be careful here because I got a couple people looking at me funny now. But I'm going to give a little EAGLES.
Oh, do that at the airport. I love it. Where are you headed, by the way?
I'm heading down to Key West. I got to go to a celebration of life down there, but I'm gonna enjoy most of the weekend, of course. But tomorrow I got a couple hours here. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm heading down to Key West. It's like 60 degrees there, so it'll be better than the 27 here, right?
Yeah, I heard it's cold down there in Florida right now.
Yeah, I mean, they got the unseasonal. It's hit and miss down there, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, yeah. Give me an eagle chair at the airport.
All right. We might get in trouble here, but I'm going to give it a shot.
You won't get in trouble. I'll make sure of it.
All right, here we go. EAGLES.
Eagles! That's right. Let them people know. Let them know.
I'm excited, Andrew Call. Andrew's on YouTube every single day. Yeah, he's in our YouTube chat, one of our big chatters on YouTube. So a lot of respect. He called in. He said he feels like Greg at the airport because his flight got canceled.
Yeah.
So maybe a few airport beers.
Yeah, all right. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. On the other side, we'll go to the Sirianni, the best Sirianni I've ever heard, but also where he should have had a mic drop. All right?
He tends to
ramble. I
ramble.
think you've heard this, Bill, so this is good. Mike Missanelli show coming up is News at News. Sirianni at 12:05. You might hear another version of the great Sirianni. Our NFL picks coming your way. We're going to pick all the games at about 12:30. So don't go anywhere. It's the Mike Missanelli show live from Rally House in Willow Grove. 9:12 on the Mike Missanelli Show. And this is interesting. I think it's shows a lot of. I have a lot of admiration for Notre Dame fans today. They're too kind to gloat, and we're not here for Penn State fans because they're in total depression, which I totally understand.
Well, you're in depression
on the text line.
Yeah, I'm not in depression. I'm in. It's not disgust either because I thought Notre Dame was going to win the game. I just. Like it bothers me when a player who needs to perform just like didn't feel it, and that's what I saw with that quarterback. He's a much better player than he showed yesterday, and it was almost like he was overwhelmed by the moment.
It did look that way, especially in the first half, man.
And like this kid was the number one recruited quarterback, high school quarterback in the nation when they got him, okay? So he's got what I call, I know people think I say this word a lot, he's got a big-time pedigree. Now, he hasn't been that consistent until this year, and most recently he was consistent to the point where everybody's saying, well, he already announced he's coming back. Maybe he shouldn't because he would be a really high draft pick because he was on that kind of roll. So to play the way he played in that game yesterday, I don't know what the kid's all about now. I really don't. That was a telling type of display for that kid yesterday. He looked nervous. He looked overwhelmed. And I'm going, this is why you're the number one. Like, you're a big-time player. It's not like you're a freshman. You're a third-year quarterback. That's what bothered me about it.
I thought of both quarterbacks. The best one was the backup quarterback from Notre Dame for the limited time he came in. He threw the ball better than anybody in that game. But Aller let them off the hook in the first half. The Penn State Nittany Lions, they came out, they were dominating that game in the first half. If Aller plays better, it probably wouldn't even have been close.
Yeah. Oh, well.
But that's why it hurts you.
There is the Wilbur Mall. I used to live fairly close to here. I lived in Horsham for a long time. And I actually met my wife here.
Where?
My ex-wife.
At Rally House?
Not at Rally House, but it's now Bloomingdale's, as you can see. But it used to be Abraham and Strauss. So as the story goes, I was working for the Inquirer at the time. This is way back in the day now. So we're talking like 30-plus years ago. I was working for the Philadelphia Inquirer. We were on strike for 4 weeks, which meant no money was coming in. So I had to find jobs. So during the day, I found a job as a construction guy. We were ripping out we were renovating some catering hall. And so literally during the day, I was using sledgehammers to break cinder block.
Wait, while you were on strike from the Inquirer?
Yeah, because I had to get some money coming in. So they were paying they were paying $5 an hour.
Was that a lot of money back then?
So a friend of mine says, I get this other job opportunity for you. He goes, what is it? He goes, have you ever been a cosmetic model?
Stop. You were a cosmetic model? Come on.
Yeah. So I go, I don't even know what that is. He goes, well, I have a friend who's the counter manager, cosmetic manager, and they're hiring people to feature new fragrances for women.
Wait, and this is how you met your wife? It's a good story.
Well, it's a tremendous story. So I don't know the first thing about doing this. First of all, I'm a newspaper writer. I'm not the brash idiot that you know now. I was a really shy, behind-the-scenes, just newspaper guy.
Okay.
So I meet up with her, and she says we're pushing this cologne called Paloma Picasso, which was it's Paloma was the daughter of the great painter Pablo Picasso.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Pablo Picasso?
I have.
Okay. He was like.
Did he only have one ear?
You don't even know who Pablo Picasso
Didn't Picasso like chop off his ear?
No, that was Da Vinci.
No, I don't think it was Da Vinci either. But Picasso, didn't he spend some time in Paris?
Oh, he's from Spain. He was an impressionist painter. He with all kinds of odd
I know, but I think he spent some time in Paris because I think when I was there, they have a
Picasso thing.
I think there was like where he lived in Paris. I don't know. Maybe
Maybe
I'm confused.
Anyway, now we're off the subject here. Paloma Picasso was the fragrance that she founded, so that was the new fragrance.
Got it.
So I was the cosmetic. So I was a handsome guy back then. You might not know it now, but back then I was a handsome guy. And I had a nice suit on. I'm all cleaned up. I got the hair there, and I'm walking around with this fragrance in the cosmetic area, trying to seek out women that would be interested in purchasing it.
Wait, so you're like spraying it as they walk by and then saying, "Come back to me."
No, I was supposed to go up to them and say, "Would you like to try our new fragrance today?" And then I would spray it on the card or whatever.
I hate people like you at the mall.
Well, I hated. I couldn't do it. I was terrible at it. I would try to approach someone, and they would look at me like with cross eyes, like they don't want to be bothered. And I go, and I wilted. So I was terrible at it. And I was about to, and I'm getting paid $10 an hour for this. $5 an hour with a sledgehammer to break cinder block. $10 to walk around Abraham and Strauss, which is right down the way here, which is now Bloomingdale's,
and talk to women.
Right.
Not a bad gig.
Well, like older, like the age group was like an older demo.
Yeah, you were younger then, obviously.
Right. So, so I go. I didn't sell anything for the first 3 hours. Like not one thing. Not one little sample. Right. So I called my brother, and I said, "Listen, man, you got to help me out here." I said, I need a sale. I'm going to lose this job. It's like $10 an hour. He comes down and he buys like $500 worth of stuff.
Wait, the doctor?
And they thought I was good at it because I didn't tell them it was my brother. Anyway, that's the kind of things you have to do when you're on strike. See?
Wait, but I thought you were telling us how you met your first wife.
She hired me to do this job, and so we got to be friendly. And we dated a couple years later, and then we ended up getting married. So she's the mother of my daughter.
Yeah, now you have your daughter.
Yeah.
See, it's all fake.
But, obviously it didn't work out. But it was,
I wonder if there's anybody out there that you tried to pitch this perfume to back in the day that could call in. I would love to hear if anyone remembers Mike Missanelli.
There's nobody would remember that. I was just a lowly little newspaper guy walking around the store trying to sell Paloma Picasso. I don't even know if its fragrance is still in existence.
I don't know. I'll look it up.
All right.
And by the way, it was Van Gogh that chopped off his ear. I had the wrong artist.
I knew there was a prefix. Yeah, Vincent Van Gogh.
Yeah, not Picasso.
That's who it was. And you know what he said after they chopped off his ear?
I can't hear you.
He said, "What?" It was close. You had it.
Wait, Picasso did the big features, right? Wasn't it like weird?
He would do triangles, and, odd faces attached to. It was he and Salvador Dali were the two guys that did that kind of art.
I know Salvador Dali with the melting clocks.
Yeah, the melting. There you go.
Yeah, I know.
Look at that.
See, I'm more cultured
Art
than you give me
history
credit
Bill.
for. There you go.
610-632-0975. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Wild card round.
Willow Grove, very nice spot. Great. They have some interesting, different gear here. Like, look at that Eagle stuff they have. Look at those jackets over there hanging out there. You can buy little kids stuff. But look at that jacket. Look at that one in the middle there that has the wings on it. You see that up there?
Yeah, really
What
nice.
is that? Is that like a lady's pullover?
Wait, you looking at the white one?
No. I'm looking at it's like a multicolored.
Oh, okay.
action.
It was
You
blocked
see
by
that?
the sign. Yeah, I think it's like a lady's sweater. It's Mike. You got to go and turn the corner there. There's the entire wall of even more stuff. I've never seen any of this gear. Like, I live close to one of the Eagles pro shops. They don't even have half as much as Rally House has in Eagles gear. It's mind blowing.
It's pretty amazing. Do they have the kicker jersey up there?
I'm sure they do.
Could you buy Elliott jersey?
I mean, I would.
Do you have an Elliott jersey up there?
I'm not really a jersey
Yeah.
guy to begin with, so I don't rock jerseys.
Could you dare wear an Elliott jersey? Like, in general? Like, all due respect to Elliott. Listen, I know he's an important player of the team, but could you actually walk around with an Elliott jersey?
Because it's Jake Elliott or because he's the kicker?
Both.
I'm the wrong person to
Could
ask.
you walk around with a kicker jersey? That's what I'm asking. Is that unusual, or that's just no big deal?
The only way I think it's acceptable is if you were a kicker yourself. Like, you were a kicker in high school or college and you really connect with the kicker position. That's the only way. But I'm not a jersey guy, man. I've never been.
I've never been either. But a lot of people are, and I'm just wondering whether they would. No, there is no LA jersey.
There's not.
That
you can order
you
it
can get
online.
it online. So that tells me a lot. They like, nobody buys that jersey.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I could see a Jordan Davis jersey
Jordan
hanging on
Davis
the wall.
is up there. Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, we'll have to go look and see how many options. But they have everything, man.
All right, let's get back to the phones. We got Penn State Evan checking in. What's up, Penn State Evan?
Mike, we're going to need some of that Paloma Picasso to get the stink off of Penn State. I called you right before Thanksgiving. You were asking for who the biggest turkeys were in Philly sports. And I said James Franklin was the biggest turkey, and you laughed at me. How do you feel today, Mike?
Listen, I can't ignore the fact that it's another big game he hasn't won. But, I'm looking at it like this. Like, what was the coordinator's game plan to get the ball to wide receivers yesterday? Now I know he's got total oversight off of that, but when you don't get the ball to your wide receiver one time, like, that's the offensive coordinator screwing up. And
okay,
Franklin's the
okay,
overseer. I get it. Franklin's the overseer. He didn't win the game last night, and I'm not a Franklin fan. But Drew Aller lost that game for them last night.
You know what? You can give me Is Drew Aller 1-15 versus top?
No, you're right. He's not.
The common denominator.
He's not.
Mike, here's the deal. He's 1-15 versus top 5 teams against Oregon. Right? Just a minor thing. They're down 2. First of all, he goes for 2, changes the whole momentum of the game. They're down 2 scores. How'd you like that timeout on 2nd and 10 with the clock stopped down 2 touchdowns with the ball? What a joke! Last night we're running the ball down their throat. And they go with tempo, which is smart, and then they throw 2 fades back to back. I mean, give me a break. It's Franklin. He's a gym teacher. He rolls the balls out and lets the kids play. Okay?
Well, but he hired that offensive coordinator that did improve their explosive plays this year. Where they were yesterday, I have no idea. One of the things I was talking about is they got one straight line deep receiver. And because Notre Dame plays that cover 1, that play wasn't available. So if that play's not available and they're going to bracket the tight end, then get the ball on shorter patterns to your wide receivers, on small slants. Get the ball in there. I don't understand what that offensive coordinator was doing last night.
Mike, I got to tell you, you talk about Aller, right? Number one quarterback in the country.
Yeah.
About 10 years ago, we had the number 1 quarterback in the country. He looked like the number 1 pick in the draft
Hackenberg?
With Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, Hackenberg.
5 years later, he's selling Pablo Picasso.
No,
in
you're
the
right.
mall.
And maybe this kid is fool's gold. It is possible.
If I was Drew Aller, I would get in that transport portal so quick. Get out of there, Drew.
Whoa.
Franklin's a loser. He loses. He can beat Michigan. He can beat Maryland and Rutgers. But when it's time to play Ohio State or the Blue Bloods, he comes up short every time. Losers lose. Franklin's a loser.
I can't argue with you. What do you want me to say? I can't argue with you. We were talking about this. He had to win this game. He had to win this game. Now, I think most people would think Ohio State was just too good. He wasn't going to beat Ohio State, but he had to win this one. He had to beat Notre Dame to get to the national championship game. He didn't do it. Now, I look at it and go, this quarterback let them down big time yesterday. But you have to coach a guy not to let you down. You have to instill confidence in that kid to go out there and perform. And I guess that falls on the head coach because he didn't do it.
Yeah, that's a good point because I was just going to stick up for Franklin and saying, look, the team was ready to play. They dominated the first half, but Aller just couldn't connect. But you're right. If you're a young quarterback, and he's not that young in college terms, but he's still a kid, if he's not ready to play, the moment looks too big for him, I guess that does come down to the head coach. So maybe Franklin does deserve a lot more blame than he's getting today. Because I think most people are like you. They're not really blaming James Franklin as much as they wanted to. They're blaming the quarterback. But, yeah, the buck stops for you as the head coach.
And I'll tell you something. At the end of the game, he got a break because he threw a lollipop to the end zone for Tyler Warren, which should have been a touchdown, and they got bailed out with the pass interference play. Yeah. Aller had blown that.
Yeah, he looked really bad last night, man. How old is Aller? 20?
He's a junior, so maybe, I don't know. He's 21.
Yeah,
He's played 3 years. He's the number one recruited quarterback in the nation. That's what you got last night? Come on now.
Yeah, it was disappointing.
All right. Nobody cares. I'm sorry. We care about the Eagles and Packers. But there are some Penn State fans out there that are hurting. Let's go to Steve in Roxborough. Steve, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Steve.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
What's
Long
up,
time
Stevie?
Listener, I haven't talked to you in years.
How you doing?
So I'm old school. So I think you missed it. Like that caller just called it, and your partner there. They died after the first series. Penn State was unstoppable on the run. If they ran 85% of the rest of the game, it's a blowout. Notre Dame had no pass rush whatsoever, and their quarterback didn't play good, and neither did Notre Dame's. If they stuck to the run, they win that game hands down. And I bet Notre Dame. I went to bed after Penn State scored their last touchdown. Penn State scored their last touchdown. How do you leave a guy wide open when you're up by 7 with like 5 or 6 minutes left in the game? Where was the defender at?
The defender slipped and fell on that play.
Okay.
They gave up
All right,
two big plays that shouldn't have happened. One was on the left side and one was on the right side. They were the two game back-breaking plays that Notre Dame got, which made their passing total look good. But listen, Notre Dame did make some adjustments to stop their running game after they were getting housed early on. In that case, you then have to rely on your quarterback to make a couple of decent throws.
Yeah, but their quarterback didn't play well as well. So I'm blaming this on Franklin. I really am. And I just thought Penn State was, like you said, Notre Dame was a better team. I disagree. I think that Penn State was a better team, and it came down to coaching. And I just thought Franklin took the, you know what. So, Mike, let me ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles, I think they're, favored by 4.5 or so. But, I'm watching ESPN this morning. They're favored by 4.5, and then after the line, it goes how many percent they're going to win by, what their chances are.
Yeah.
51%. 51%. That's like a 50-50. You know what I mean? So how is that possible?
They're 51% to win this game?
Yeah. If you
isn't it really? Oh, I don't know how. Those the statistics that come out with the percentage, I have no idea. They're a 5-point favorite. So, I don't know. How does that translate to 51% to win?
Yeah, who knows? These computers, it depends on what information you're putting in them. I don't put a lot of stock in that.
Yeah. Listen, I normally I get a little bit of apprehension that they could lose in the first round. No, I don't have it at all. I don't know if that's bad. Are we overconfident?
I don't think we're overconfident. I think we are accurately confident.
I want to hear from Eagle fans. Are you overconfident? Are you ambivalent at all about this game? Because I haven't heard any all week. 610-632-0975. News at noon is coming up a little earlier. Nick Sirianni at 12:10. Don't go anywhere.
Andrew Salciunas.
right, it's 11:42 on the Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5. The Fanatic. We got some nice people that are coming in greeting us here today.
You know what's crazy?
What's that?
We've seen more people wearing Penn State gear than Eagles gear today.
Wow.
We've seen 3 people rocking Penn State stuff today, the day after they just lost the biggest game they've played in, 20 years?
I have to have a certain admiration for people who still support the cause. I just can't do it today.
Yeah, a lot of people are still proud.
Yeah.
Still proud.
I don't understand it, though. I don't understand the pride when you lose a game like that. You know, again, like maybe I'm different.
Well, you are different.
Like you can't appreciate how good of a season it was when you lose like that and you should have won. You know?
And less than 12 hours removed from it.
I mean, isn't it natural? Like, you wake up today, like, oh, that game didn't get over till, what, midnight? It was close to midnight. It's been, it was hard to sleep because of that disappointment. And you get up, and the first thing you think of is, let me put my Penn State stuff on. Like, that's the last thing I want. I don't even want to find it in the closet at that point.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back because obviously not a Penn State guy, and I don't have any college allegiance that's playing in big games like that. I'm looking at it from like an Eagles fan's perspective. 2022 Super Bowl, they're up, headed into the second half. Mm-hmm. You're up by 10. Mahomes just limped off. You end up losing that game. I think I would still rock Eagles gear the next day. It was still a magical season. You could be disappointed and not say, I'm burning my sweatshirt today. You would burn all your stuff today.
No, I wouldn't burn it. I just wouldn't. I don't have. First of all, I have one thing that has Penn State on it.
What,
right? The thing I wore yesterday.
The fire quarter zip. I saw it on YouTube.
I wore it yesterday, and but now that I'm not wearing that until they win their first 5 games next year. Like that's how I roll. It's such a. They have not won a national championship since 1986. Now, this wasn't going to be the year they won a national championship. But can you imagine getting to the game, the hype of the program, and how that would have maybe recruited the same type of athlete that Ohio State recruits all the time?
It would have helped, but I think this did too. I mean, getting to the Final Four, playing in the Orange Bowl on that stage last night, I think it'll help Penn State. Let's hope it helps them recruit a receiver.
The thing is, you can't feel the pain.
No, I can't.
You can't feel the pain. You're looking at it like the man from the outside.
Yeah, because I am. I don't have that connection like you do to Penn State.
All right, 610-632-0975. Do we have some text board concern about we talked about having concern about the kicker, but there is concern for a main guy here. Ray?
Yeah, we got a texter checking in. I think AJ not practicing is huge. He mentioned his knee needed rest before the Giants game. Now, 2 weeks later, he's not practicing. Yes, he's going to play, but it doesn't mean he will finish the game.
Have we underplayed this part of this game, the AJ thing, Bill, or are they just resting him?
It's anybody's guess. I mean, it's not a good sign that they didn't have to play him against the Giants, and yet he's still not ready to practice. I mean, he was able to rest all last week, and he's still not ready to practice yet this week. So I think it's something to monitor. And you know how much better this offense is with A.J. Brown on the field, but maybe I'm too confident. I just don't see, even if A.J. Brown's not 100%, I just think this offense has enough with Saquon and that offensive line that they can win the game with the defense that they have going up against the Packers.
All right, let's look at the Packers now. Statistical analysis here. Total yards per game, pretty good, 370.8. That's 5th. Points per game, 27.1. That's 8th. Now, I don't think they're scoring 27 against the Eagles. Do you?
No.
Yeah, I agree. Pass yards per game, 223.9. That's 12th. Rush yards per game. I was down on the rushing attack, but 146.8 per game, which is 5th in the league. Now, these statistics, they're our overall stats, and the home and away stats are a lot different. So let's go to the defense. At home, they give up 278.8 yards, 3rd. At home, they only give up 16.8 points. That's 2nd. At home, they only give up 184.6 pass yards per game. That's 7th. Rush, they only give up 94.2. That's 3rd. They're impressive numbers.
But they're not playing.
However, they're away. They're at Lincoln Financial Field, so let's see how that plays out. On the road, they give up 354.8 yards a game, which is 24th in the league. Oh, man, if that's not a telling stat. Points per game, 23.4 they give up, tied for 17th. Pass yards per game, 249.6, 25th in the league, but they're pretty decent against the run at 105.1, which is 10th. Those passing numbers. So let me ask you this question. If you're the offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, and you see that, do you put the ball in the air a lot more in this game?
No, I'm not. I'm sticking with what got you there. Don't change your identity. Your identity has been, since the bye week, you rely heavily on your rushing attack, on that offensive line, on Saquon Barkley. I'm not changing that for anybody because we've seen that this Eagles team can run the ball on anybody. It doesn't matter who the defense is. They ran the ball against the Baltimore Ravens successfully, who had a great rushing defense. So I'm sticking to what got you there. And you're going through Green Bay's home and away. The Eagles at home since 2022 are 23-5. That's an .821 winning percentage, second best in the NFL. In the last 19, they're 16-3, and they've won 7 straight. So I think home field advantage is going to be a big deal on Sunday afternoon.
That's the chalk way to do it. But I got to tell you, early in the game, I might throw it because they're not going to expect that. And I may get my first drive and get me 7 right away. We'll talk about it. We'll analyze it. Bill's analysis is coming up because Bill digs into the numbers. But we're going to have the news at noon coming up. And then Nick Sirianni at 12:10. We'll have our NFL picks at 12:30. And Tim McManus covers the Eagles for ESPN.com at 1:25. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
right, it's 11:55. Mike Missanelli Show. A lot of people are texting me stuff that people are saying about James Franklin online. I didn't notice this, but the game-winning field goal for Notre Dame, they had two guys deep in case they were going to fake the field goal. Now, at that point, it's not what was it, a 41-yarder?
Yeah, there's no chance of a fake field goal there.
So why?
And he's not going to kick it short.
You need to make an all-out attempt to block it. And for some reason, they were aligned. You could see this where they were. Look where those two guys are.
Yeah.
They're in the end zone. Oh, no. They're at the 10.
They're playing like safety.
Really? Seriously?
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, that's not the reason they lost the game, but just a questionable
bad
decision.
Strategical move there.
Very weird.
All right. By the way, I did some research on Paloma Picasso in case people are interested, the ladies out there, if you're interested. You can get it at a really good price right now. I assume that the fragrance fizzled.
It's not doing well?
I don't even know what she's up to anymore, but this was now, you're talking about a fragrance that came out, how many years ago was this when I was doing this? Like, this was the middle 80s?
It was before Penn State won their last national title.
It was. And so this now, the retail price for 3.4 ounces of eau de parfum was $90. But at the perfume spot, Bill, in case you would like to buy this post-baby little fragrance, our price, $43.74. However, you can get a coupon here, $32.81.
Wow. You know what's really hurting that company? Your brother's not buying $500 worth of perfume anymore. That's why they're struggling.
Yes, I assume they are. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time for the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The news at noon with Ray Dunn. Ray, what do we have for today?
All right, we're going to start with the guy who's been a topic of conversation all football season long. It's Tom Brady. And this has been something I've been talking about a couple of times on this show, the fact that I just don't think he's going to stick for broadcasting very long. That message has now been echoed by Dan Patrick when they were talking about it on his show this week. Tell me what you think of this.
Better gig, Fox broadcaster or Raiders front office?
Well, he is a part owner, so that's different than I just see Brady as a one and done. He does the Super Bowl, and then he decides that he's going to be more involved with the Raiders. I just don't see Tom sort of in and like 1 foot in, 1 foot out with the Raiders. He's too much of a competitor. And it's one thing, you can compete in this business. Like, I compete with myself every day. We compete, with ourselves each day. But this is different. These are wins and losses with Tom and creating something, building something. And I think that would probably intrigue him. As opposed to being a broadcaster, I mean, Tom can be at a certain level, and he knows that there'll just be people who don't like him just because he's Tom Brady or he beat their team or whatever it might be. Tom is competing against Tom. And I think that, I don't know if he gets the same kind of adrenaline rush.
Pete's probably pretty right on that. Are you feeling that too?
Yeah, I also think this could also be why the NFL is not pushing as much about the potential conflicts of interest, because it's strange that a guy in Tom Brady's position has such inside access to these other teams, and now he's running a coaching search for the Raiders. He's running a GM search for the Raiders while he's getting inside access through Fox to all these other teams. And I've been curious why the NFL hasn't come out and said anything. Maybe they know he's walking away at the end of the year, so they don't want to make a big deal.
But if I'm Tom Brady, I want everything, right? Now, does he want to work? Running the Raiders is probably more encompassing than, he's got a lark job now. Everybody does everything for him, his research. All he basically does is show up and look pretty and be Tom Brady and make a ton of money for it. Is he going to throw that away for the fact that, is he going to be a 6-6 guy trying to build the Raiders? Do you see him doing that?
I could see. Look, we know Tom Brady's one of the greatest competitors you've ever seen. So to me, yeah, maybe he will do that.
Yeah, you're going to show up at the offices every day?
Why not? What else does he have to do? He's divorced. What else is he doing with his life?
He's one of those guys that's reached a status in life where he doesn't have to work hard.
Yeah, but that competitive fire, I don't think leaves a guy like Tom Brady. And it's not a competitive thing to show up and be the color analyst on Fox watching other people. I think he wants to be a part of the Raiders rebuild. I could see him walking away and being, like you said, a 6-6 guy.
Hey, see, I don't see that.
In Vegas.
I think they would have to track him down with a beeper. Yeah, Tom, we need some input here. All right, I'll show up tomorrow. Like, I don't think he's going to be an everyday guy running a franchise. I don't see it.
Well, look, Elway did it. You know, John Lynch did it. I mean, there's guys who have done that transition who played at a high level. And Lynch was a play-by-play guy, right? He was a commentator. I'm sure Elway could have done that if he wanted to.
But this he was married to a model. He's all over the place, going here, going there. He's got 7 homes elsewhere. Like, he's got the life of leisure. Does he want to turn his life of leisure into a life of 9-to-5 work?
I don't know. I'm just looking forward to the conversation Fox has to have with Greg Olson when they say, hey, we want you back. I hope he gets as much money as he possibly can if they throw him to the curb.
What's he going to do, play hardball with him?
I would.
Really?
Why not?
Where's he going to go?
I'm sure he could go somewhere else. The guy's good. Even though Eagles fans were mad at him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he bothers me. Talks too much. All right, let's move on. Number 2.
Before we get to the next one, you're listening to WPEN, WPE1 HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Moving to number 2 here.
That's called our legal ID, and that's a good move by you, Ray.
And no problem. Just want to sneak that one in there. Before we move on, or before this happened on Wednesday, I wanted to make sure that we didn't get into this yesterday because I didn't want Brendan Gunn to get a chance to be more insufferable with his Villanova side of things. Nova with the big win after the game, big win over UConn after the game. UConn head coach Dan Hurley wanted to deliver a message to his player, Alex Karaban, who missed 2 potential game-tying free throws. This is his message to his player.
You know, when you've had, the incredible moments, the fairy tale, back-to-back national champion coming back for a third, it's like life. Sometimes you got to go, sometimes you got to eat. Sometimes, you're going to have bad moments. What I told him to do, though, is, when he feels sad tonight, just get off the bus when we get back to campus and do what I did after Maui. Just pull your box of rings out and maybe just kind of play with your back-to-back national championship rings and get ready for Georgetown.
Sound advice?
That's to make Dan Hurley look good. That's all that was. It wasn't to make Alex Karaban feel better. It's Dan Hurley reminding people, yeah, he missed 2 free throws. Now stick up your nose because I just won 2 national championships.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me, too.
It's not about Alex Karaban at all. I watched the end of that game. Boy, Nova, coming out of nowhere all of a sudden. Ray, I know you're proud of the Villanova Wildcats making this rally here.
They had a nice win over UConn. Give them that.
It was a good win. And that kid's an 85% foul shooter, too. He missed those free throws late in that game. All right, number 3.
Final with basketball here. We're going to go to Pat Riley. He had a chance to go on Dan Le Batard, which feels like a real easy PR win for him. And yet, I don't know if he tried to make a joke, but whatever he came across, he might be suggesting that, hey, maybe I could be washed.
Calling you washed up, old man. They're saying the game has passed him by. He had to watch the Celtics beat him last year, and I imagine him shaking a fist at the television. What do you have to say to the critic who's out there saying
whoever's saying that? I haven't read it. I haven't read it because I'm not on any social media site, not one. So, and I don't care because I've had my ass kicked by the Celtics enough when I was coaching, and they're a great team. New York has gotten better, and they're going for it. Philly's going for it. We're going for it too. We're going for it, and this is an important year for the Heat. So I don't worry about what critics say because maybe I am. Maybe I should go somewhere and just sort of put my feet up. But I would then become very compulsive, obsessive about doing something else.
Maybe I am, in reference to being washed up.
No, maybe I should step away from the game. He's not. He's too competitive for that. What is he going for? We mean they're going for it. What are they going for?
Well, he also said Philly's going for it, so I don't really think
Philly's going for it a lot more than he's going for it.
But you never know how it's going to work out for the Sixers when all three guys get in the playoffs. We know how it's going to work out for this team. They stink.
Well, he's going to be 80 in March. I just looked it up.
Really?
80. Yeah, maybe it is time for Pat Riley to
He's
walk
the
away.
Godfather. Why'd you walk away? He's the Godfather.
Well, don't you start to ruin your
Can't
legacy.
do any wrong. Nobody ever criticized him. He's Pat Riley. Hang in there, son. All right, 610-632-0975. On the other side, Nick Sirianni, who was actually early when we had him on Wednesday. Where will he be today? He's up next on the Mike Missanelli Show.
Kincade and Salciunas, weekday mornings.
Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. We are waiting on Nick Sirianni to come to the podium for his final meeting with the press until game day on Sunday, 4:25. The Eagles a 5-point favorite. Went over some numbers that really favor the Eagles in this game, and I really don't think they're going to have any problem with the next two games that they're going to play at home. And it all comes down to the game that I've circled for a long time. The Eagles will have to win in Detroit against the Detroit Lions. There are some people in the NFL who think the Eagles are better than the Lions, even there. and some people have the Eagles ranked like as the 5th best team in the playoffs here, counting the AFC. So who knows how it's going to shake out? But I think when we get a look at how these teams are playing in the playoffs, and we get a look at how Detroit plays coming out of a bye, I think we'll get a pretty good sense of what's up here.
Yeah, I think you're right. And look, bringing it back to the Penn State conversation from last night, where the moment looked too big for Drew Aller, I don't think you're going to have that with anyone on this Eagles football team. They've all been here before. So going into the playoffs, I know Sirianni's message has been you don't change anything. This team's not going to change anything. They were in a Super Bowl 2 years ago. All these guys know what the playoffs are like. I don't think the moment's going to be too big. Now, I won't say the same thing about guys like Sam Darnold. We saw the moment too big for him in Week 18 against the Lions. So we will learn a lot in Wild Card Weekend. But the Eagles, no, the moment won't be too big for these guys.
You know, we have our picks coming up at 12:30, and I've changed my mind on a couple of picks.
All right.
From the early week where, you know, I thought that the play of the week was the Rams at home against the Vikings. I'm not so sure anymore.
Well, they're not home anymore. They're going to Arizona
right.
for that.
They are going to Arizona, which shaped the line a little bit.
Yes, that's why I would love to see the Commanders knock off the Bucs. I'm not giving you my picks yet, but I would love to see the Commanders knock off the Bucs. So then the Eagles get the winner of Rams-Vikings, who both have to go to Arizona on a short week because it's a Monday night game. I think the Eagles would have the advantage big time, having played Sunday at home and then getting another home game against two teams who are on a short week coming from Arizona. So I'm rooting for the Commanders against the Bucs. Plus, it'd be nice to get the Bucs out.
That's another one that I've changed my mind on. But listen, on that note, because the game has changed and it's now in Glendale, Arizona, because of the wildfires that are just devastating the L.A. area and people losing their homes, I can't imagine living in an area where you have to worry about those kind of things, where the wildfires can come through, the Santa Ana winds blow the fires. You have no defense against it. You have to resort to airplanes flying over and trying to put it out with tanks of the water and things like that. I just can't imagine the devastation. It is so painful for people to have lost everything they have when watched their house burn down.
I could not imagine, man. Could not imagine. I was just saying to my wife last night, like, I would not want to live in California with this type of stuff that you have to worry about. I mean, we're fortunate here. We don't usually have to worry about stuff like this, earthquakes and things like that. I mean, I know we had an earthquake, but that was nothing compared to what they get over there. But yeah, our heart goes out to everybody.
Earthquakes in California, wildfires in California, hurricanes in the Florida area, in the Gulf area. I actually did have a house burn down.
Did you really?
Yes. A shore house that I bought many years ago. First year I buy it, within several months I had a fire that destroyed it.
Were you there?
No.
Thank God.
I wasn't there. It was in September. I happened to be at my daughter's school for Dad's Day. And I get this call from my realtor. And I go, what's this about? Mike, I go, what's up? Well, it's bad news for you. I go, well, I guess your house burned. I go, what? What? Yeah. So I had to that was a mess. I had to rebuild it. Going in the house, like right after a fire, is just devastating.
Yeah, and one of the things I saw coming out of California, that's another thing that makes this whole thing so sad, is a lot of dogs are getting brought to shelters.
Yeah.
Because people lost their houses. They don't have anything to do with their dogs now.
Yeah.
It's just a terrible situation.
It is. So, our thoughts go out to the people. I mean, there's some very, high-profile actors. J.J. Redick lost his house, and there's some athletes. You can imagine that you arrive, well, I guess you can't get in the area, but you just know your house is burning to the ground, and whatever you have in there is gone. Memories, pictures, stuff that is really precious to you. Terrible thing that anybody has had to go through that. All right, so let's go to Larry. Oh, okay. All right, so Nick is at the podium. Let's listen to Nick Sirianni.
What your expectations are for practice here in a little bit?
Yeah, you'll see the injury report, the practice report from today. But giving him some rest at this stage in the season. Been a long road, so giving him some rest yesterday to make sure that he's in best shape he can be to play on Sunday.
How about the fact that
if Jalen hasn't really been able to practice, obviously, the last few weeks, and now AJ hasn't been on the field with him to sort of reestablish the rhythm in front of this playoff game?
Yeah, they've worked a lot of they've got a lot of reps together. Prior to this last couple weeks, so a lot of reps together. So that's not a concern of mine. And I just feel like we're in a good spot going into this game.
As Jalen went through the protocol, how much was he able to do as far as film study and
Yeah, not going to get too much into all what he did and what there's different rules for when you're in it. Again, just feel like he's had a good week of practice and a good week of preparation and ready to roll.
You've had only 3 games this year with Dallas, AJ, and Devontae all together. Do you feel like there's another gear for the passing game having them together in the postseason?
Yeah, obviously they're all 3 really, really good players. Anytime you can have them all on the field at the same time, that's a good thing. I think that's a good question. And definitely those guys are, they're really good players. So, yeah, we're excited about the opportunity that they'll have together.
Due to the nature of Jalen's injury, you guys have used the zoner. He obviously has been a runner. How do you manage that through this play?
Yeah, we're always careful with him. He's our quarterback, so we always want to be careful with him. I think that's been a question I've probably got here since 2021, right? So we always think about his health first and foremost because you never want him not to be on the field. You always want Jalen Hurts on the field. You always feel better when Jalen Hurts is on the field. And so it's always part of our process and our plan to, make sure that, when he does carry the football, on planned runs that we try to protect him and that he protects himself when he's on a scramble and stuff like that.
We expect Kenny Pickett to be the backup with his ribs. I don't know where they.
Yeah, we'll see as we'll get you the practice report from today, but we'll see as the week goes on. Again, he's had a good week of practice as well. Scott on the scout team.
Was Lewis Cine someone you got to know in the draft process?
Yeah, obviously, Howie and his staff do such a good job of getting, all the information on guys. You get so many opportunities to talk to these guys. A lot of different opportunities to talk to these guys. So, I thought I was impressed by him out at practice yesterday yesterday, and he made some good plays. And you can really see, you see him in the locker room, right? Big guy, strong, great size, and really fast. When I was watching him on some teams yesterday. So, excited that he's here.
Nick, Zach Bond finished first among all linebackers in all-pro voting. What can you say about how far he's come and just what he's been able to do in his first year at a new position?
Yeah, highly impressive. I think what you see with Zach is just a guy that is tough, physical, loves football. Those guys that love, great work ethic. Those guys that have all that usually have an opportunity to reach their, God willing, have an opportunity to reach their ceiling. And he just keeps getting better. So I don't think we know what his ceiling is. He keeps getting better with every rep that he gets on the inside at linebacker. Very versatile, the different things that he can do. And he's worked really hard at that, and there's, Vic's done a great job of putting him in positions to succeed. Bobby King's done a great job, and Ronell Williams have done a great job helping him, get better with his fundamentals, day in, day out. But N'Kobe's done a great job of playing right beside him. Can't be great without the greatness of others. So the defensive line have done a good job allowing him to run and make plays by the way they take on blocks. That entire group. So again, it takes everybody, but all the credit goes to, and most of the credit goes to Zach because he just went out there and done it, and played at a very high level for the entire year. I'm proud of him and proud of all the things that he's accomplished. This first year as an Eagle.
Two more, please. You've been around Lane Johnson for a while now. What have you seen from him this season that you didn't notice from him in the past, from either in the locker room or on the field? What have you noticed?
Lane's the best offensive lineman in the NFL. I have no doubt about that. I think, but you said new. I've known Lane's been the best lineman in the best offensive lineman in the NFL from the moment I got here, and all the things like Lane. I think Lane's a phenomenal leader. he's always talking and helping out the younger guys, and always, very, very just when the scout team is giving him very not complimentary, it's not the word, but just so thankful for the scout team that they help him get better as a football player. I love the connection he has with his teammates and the offensive linemen. And so I guess you just, every time you have an opportunity to be around Lane and watch him play, I can't tell you how many times I'm watching the tape and I'm like, man, this guy's one of the best football players in the world. This guy's the best offensive lineman in the world. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've watched a pass protection and said that to myself, or paused it and said it to the offensive staff when we're watching tape together, because he does things that are so, like, crazy athletic, and for how big he is. Like, one thing I like to say to some of the guys on offensive staff too is, like, when you watch him move his feet in pass pro and like get his hands on a guy, but just how he moves his feet, I go, if you guys think you could score one bucket on Lane Johnson in basketball, you are dead wrong. He would lock you up. I don't care how many points you average in high school. He's the best offensive lineman in the world, and I have no doubt in my mind about that. I love him. I love everything that he brings to this football team as a player, as a leader, as a person. He's a great teammate, but I keep going back to, best offensive lineman in the world.
Last one. So you don't want to lose him, but as he prepares for interviews, what would make Kellen Moore a good head coach?
I think Kellen is very detailed in everything that he does. Very smart. Has a great, played at a very high level, has done this at a very high level, so can relate to the players and that aspect. Puts the guys in good positions to succeed. Can lead men. Is a good leader of men. As I get to sit here and watch him, install the offense, just you can see that, and you can say, man, he'd be great in front of the team. He's in front of the offense right now, but man, he'd be great in front of the entire team, inspiring the team, getting his message across to the team, coaching football to the team, coaching the ins and outs of football. Just can't say enough good things about what he's done here as our coordinator, how much I think of him as a play caller and offensive coordinator. I think of him very highly as a person. Got great man of character, and everything that he stands for. I think he'd be I should temper my. He'd be a great head coach. I have no doubt in my mind. He will be a great head coach.
All right, thank you.
Is a little subdued Nick Sirianni. Not certainly. He lit me up 2 days ago. Now he's just, matter of fact, the important news that came out, the quarterback has passed through the concussion protocol.
And it looks like AJ's going to practice today. He said we'll get the report, but it sounds as if AJ was going to practice. There's no worries there. I will say, though, I could probably drop a bucket on Lane Johnson. I don't know about that comment.
Yeah, I know. You could.
I would say no.
You could win a hole off of Tiger Woods. You could hit a 95-mile-per-hour fastball, and you could score against Lane Johnson.
I'd cross him up.
Basketball.
Cross him up, take him to the hole.
There's no question I could score on him because I just back off and shoot a 30-footer. That's the only way I'm scoring. What do you think I'm going to take him to the basket?
But seriously, though, his praise of Lane, best offensive lineman in the world.
In the world. He's probably right. 610-632-0975 is how you climb in. Let us know. I am sensing total confidence in the Delaware Valley for this game. Mike Missanelli Show continues. It's Mike Missanelli Show, live on the road today from Rally House, beautiful place here in Willow Grove, PA, the Willow Grove Mall. You know, there used to be a monster amusement park here.
Well, an amusement park, like outside,
like an amusement park, like a precursor to the Six Flags type of thing.
What was it called?
Willow Grove Park.
Interesting. I don't remember that.
I was here once as a kid, way back in the day.
See, I wouldn't think that was a place your dad would take you. I think he would tell you
one time,
go to the playground.
I think one time we got to go to
special occasion.
Willow Grove Park, but the area where Willow Grove Park was turned into this monster retail spot here, this mall.
Yeah, this is my wife's hometown too.
Oh, really?
Well, she went to Abington High School, so it's right near here.
Ah, sure.
So this was her mall.
We had Alfie from Abington stop by to say hello, one of our great callers.
Yeah, so I usually don't make my way up here from Cherry Hill.
No, this is foreign turf to you.
Yeah.
All right, so it is time now. It is Football Friday, and of course, Football Friday, we usually give you 3 picks, and we give you a best, what is it called? The Lock of the Week, sponsored by McCaws and Lock Service, right?
Correct.
All right.
Although last week was my worst week of the year. I went 0-3 last week. But
yeah, I went 2-1, I believe.
I couldn't figure out the backup situation, so I'm back.
Ray's probably he's probably lost the count though. Ray, have you lost the count of where we are?
I don't have it up in front of me. It's on some sheet in my bag right here.
Yeah. See, he doesn't. Yeah, he's kind of like just forgotten about it.
I still finished the year.
Ray's got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He gets a big article written about him nationally.
Yeah, I saw it. I was talking about that yesterday. I actually it took me like an hour and a half to read that masterpiece. It was like reading War and Peace. That article was so long.
It was, and you know what was interesting? As long as it was, I didn't see my name or your name anywhere.
No.
The Mike Missanelli show is in there, so
Mike,
you guys cannot.
Okay.
But Ray didn't say how cool it was to work with gentlemen such as ourselves.
Yeah, he didn't give me any credit.
See, this is what happens. You know, the shy kid gets a little bit of success, and then he forgets the people that helped him on the way up. It happens. I see Ray's one of those guys.
Yeah, the shy kid. He still needs to drop a boom shakalaka. Then I want credit.
All right. Anyway, let's get into our NFL picks for the week. Bill, fighting like a trooper here. I know I'm going to tax your voice here because we have a lot of games to pick.
Yeah, you want to go game by game? We'll
Let's go game by game. We'll start in chronological order with Steelers and Ravens, the first one up, which is tomorrow night at 8 p.m.
There's actually a game before that if we're going.
Oh, there is?
Yes.
Oh, that's what I'm sorry. The Chargers-Texans.
Chargers
at 4:30 p.m. Tomorrow is the first game. And this game started out as Texans getting 2.5. They are now getting 3. So the people betting the Chargers have bumped it up. Chargers -3 as a road team. Road fave.
I know this has been a little bit of a disappointing season for the Texans. A lot of people expected more in D'Amico Ryans and C.J. Stroud's second season. But I'm taking the Texans +3 at home against the Chargers. I know what Jim Harbaugh's done. I know how good Justin Herbert's looked. I'm taking D'Amico Ryans and C.J. Stroud in a big game. Texans +3.
Wow. This is different than you were looking at it earlier in the week.
Correct.
All right. Go ahead. Next is the Steelers and Ravens, the 8 o'clock game tomorrow. Started out -8.5 for the Ravens. They're now -9.5.
Well, you don't want to give your pick for that game?
I'll give them later.
All right. Pittsburgh +9.5 at Baltimore. I don't think Pittsburgh has a chance to win this football game, but I don't like that the Ravens are going to be without their best wide receiver in Zay Flowers. So I'm saying the Ravens do not cover. I'm going to take the Steelers plus the 9.5. They always seem to play the Ravens tough. Ravens win, but they don't cover. Take Pittsburgh in the points.
All right. Sunday, 1 o'clock game. The Broncos at the Bills. Started out Bills -7.5. They are now -9.
This could have been -17, and I think I would still take the Bills. I think the Bills absolutely roll the Denver Broncos. This is Josh Allen's season where he finally gets over the hump. He will be in New Orleans in the Super Bowl, hopefully up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Bills -8.5. That is my lock of the week.
That's -9 now.
Give it to me. -9.
-9.
Doesn't change my opinion.
Still taking it. All right, we got the Commanders at the Buccaneers. A very intriguing game here. Everybody's high on the Bucs. This has been -3. Buccaneers favored the whole week. It has not changed. I think people are shortchanging the Commanders a little bit here. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not actually sure who wins this game, but I think it's going to be extremely close. The Commanders could win it, but if the Bucs do, I don't see them covering. I'm taking the Commanders +3. I think Jamie Daniels is going to have a big game. You know, I haven't been high on Baker Mayfield. As good as he's been this season, I think Dan Quinn will have something dialed up for him. Take the Commanders +3.
All right, and finally, the Monday night game. The Vikings at the Rams have been moved to Glendale, Arizona because of the L.A. wildfires. The Rams started out as a 2.5-point dog to the Vikings. That shifted a little bit to 1.5. It is now back to 2.5. Rams are an underdog. Vikings a road favorite at -2.5.
So I just got done saying in the earlier part of the show that Sam Darnold showed that the moment was too big for him in Week 18. However, even though I don't have faith in Sam Darnold, I do have faith in that head coach, Kevin O'Connell. I think he's going to have a game plan in place. Excuse me. You're testing my voice. He's going to have a game plan in place. I'm actually taking the Vikings in Arizona since the game's not in L.A. The Rams are dealing with a lot of off-the-field stuff. I think the Vikings sneak by. They win this football game. And if things goes the way that I'm saying it's going to go, the Vikings will be at Lincoln Financial Field in the divisional round.
Oh, boy. All right, there's Bill's selections. Let me go now. The Chargers and the Texans. Yeah, you know, I at one point said the Texans at home is probably the play. Chargers, they don't impress me that much, but they're a solid 3-point favorite in this game. So I'm going to ride with the Chargers going in. The Texans have not impressed me over the last few weeks. So I'll take the Chargers -3 in that game. The Steelers-Ravens, well, I see it as the opposite. The Steelers have been garbage, and I think their confidence level is at an all-time low. That line is high for a reason, and so I will ride the Ravens -9.5. I think the Ravens could rout the Steelers in this game. The Broncos and the Bills, I look at it like you. There's no way the Bills don't win by double digits in this game. Broncos are a paper tiger, and they're going to get their comeuppance going to cold Buffalo, where the Bills are really used to playing, and the Bills want to rack somebody, and unfortunately it's going to be the Broncos. And then we go Commanders, Buccaneers. Boy, a lot of people just give this love to Baker Mayfield, and they're rolling, and Tampa Bay in the playoffs, and Todd Bowles and all this stuff. I think the Commanders are going to go down there and sneak one. They're getting 3 points. I think they win it outright in Tampa Bay and survive in the playoffs. And then finally, the Vikings and the Rams. And I feel like you. I think the Vikings got a little shortchanged. Early on, I thought the Rams with a slight 1.5 line were to play, but I've now switched. The Vikings are a pretty good team, and I'm not going to get overpowered by the fact that they lost to the Lions. They're going to bounce back and beat the Rams. They're a better team, so I got to give them respect. So I'll take the Vikings -2.5, and those are selections.
So the only games we disagree are Saturdays, because you're taking the Chargers -3.
Yes.
I got the Texans +3, and you're taking the Ravens to cover. Correct. You don't have any faith in the Steelers, huh, to keep that game close?
Nah, they're still. I mean, listen, they're falling apart. They've lost 4 in a row, Tom was on a hot seat. I just can't think to see where they're going to all of a sudden find something and cover 9.5. It just is telling to me. I think they get smacked around.
I just think that Zay Flowers loss is a big loss. Not that they lose the game. I just don't know if they cover 10 points, 9.5 points, whatever it is.
Yeah, but whatever they lose at Zay Flowers, they gain with the quarterback who makes play after play. And so if they can't get a 30-yarder to Zay Flowers, they're going to get a 30-yarder from Lamar dancing out of there.
All right, well, while we're doing this, what's your pick from the AFC? Who do you think's going to the Super Bowl?
I do think the Buffalo Bills are going to beat the Chiefs.
So you and I are spot on together on that. You got Bills-Eagles or Bills-Lions?
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Right now I have the Bills-Lions.
Oh, come on, Mikey. Man.
Listen, man, until the playoffs are just starting. So if I see how the Eagles are playing, I could very well see them going into Detroit. It just I got to judge on how they're playing right now. They're already up against it, having to go to Detroit where that team plays really well. I think we underplay that team. I think you underplay the team because you hate the coach. The fact that they beat Minnesota the way they did shows me that they got balls, that team. All right.
Now you're talking like they do.
And unless they start leaking in the first couple games they play, I just right now they're the favorite, and most NFL people have them as the number one ranked team, and they don't have the Eagles number one, and some have the Eagles number 5. So the requisite strengths of the team right now, I think the Lions win that game. But again, if the Eagles play like crazy men in the first couple games of the playoffs, I don't know what that line will be. Maybe it'll be 1, and if it's 1, I think the Eagles win.
All right, we'll see how it all plays out. But I'm still picking the Eagles, man. You know how I feel about Dan Campbell. He'll make a boneheaded decision. He'll lose something for that team.
Well, that's what you say. But so far, I haven't seen that this year.
He just did it a couple weeks ago against the Buffalo Bills, going for an onside kick with 11 minutes left in the game.
Back and blasted Minnesota. So we say, is that music to say we have to take a break? Oh, all right.
Ray's trying to tell us.
610-632-0975 is how you climb in. Let's hear from you. Mike Missanelli Show live at Rally House in Willow Grove. Back after this. All right, 1247, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. All right, so we're about to go into the Bill statistical analysis. Bill, I know you've been digging into the facts because you got the Bill's the neatest legal pad guy I've ever seen in my life. And this is the lawyer background when you get the legal pad and everything is printed out very cleanly and orderly. And, you know, you've got bullet points and all this kind of thing. So we're going to go right now into the Bill statistical analysis. Meanwhile, 610-632-0975. We'll get to the text board. We'll get to all of your calls. Tim McManus still to join us at 125 with his preview of the game. But this is called the Bill analysis. Bill, knock yourself out.
Do we have a music bed for that, Ray? I'm kidding, Ray. Ray's
play the Penn State fight song for the background. How do we do that? This is Brandon Bertrilli. This punk, another one of these punks that works at the station, comes flying in here with Notre Dame gear to wave it in front of my face. Now, as a younger man, he would have gone down, but I let him off the hook today.
You gave him a, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
All right, I'll try to do this with the voice struggling a little bit, but a couple of things. I know there's some people who are worried because the Green Bay Packers are a top 10 defense against the run. They're 7th in yards per game against. They're number 3 in yards per carry against. But you look at this Eagles rushing attack, and I'm going to give credit to Reuben Frank for this one. This season, they had 3,048 rushing yards. They averaged 4.9 yards per carry, 29 rushing touchdowns. They're the first team to do that since 1948. You got to go all the way back to the AAFC. That's how good this rushing attack has been. They are going to be able to run the football, and that will help them win the game. But I talked earlier about turnovers. You got to win the turnover battle, especially when you're the superior team. You don't let an inferior team stay in it with turnovers. On the season, you look at the first 6 games of this Eagles season, they did not win the turnover battle one time. Jalen Hurts had a turnover issue in those first 4 games. In the next 11 games, they won the turnover battle 9 out of 11 times, and they only lost it once against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Between weeks 8 and 18, the Eagles are number 1 with a plus 17 turnover differential and number 1 with 97 points off turnovers. I just don't see a path to victory for the Green Bay Packers when you can run the ball the way the Eagles do and you can win the turnover battle the way the Eagles do. Those 2 stats alone, that's why I'm so confident in the Philadelphia Eagles.
Wow. You got more than that written down.
Yeah, mic drop, though. Say, you said Nick Sirianni should have got out.
We're going to continue with the Bill analysis.
I do have a lot of notes.
We're also going to come back with Nick Sirianni, and I'm going to play you where he should have had the mic drop and where he continued to go and spoil it. That's coming up in the shortly. 610-632-0975 back after this. Oh, yeah, it's 12:55, Mike Missanelli Show. Football Friday right here on 97.5, the Fanatic, Eagles and Green Bay Packers. And, well, I tell you what, normally on a Football Friday, if people were freaked a little bit, they would be talking to us. And they're calm as can be, man. They are confident and calm with this team. Now, we've just gone through a week where the quarterback had to go through a concussion protocol. We're talking about the A.J. Brown, he's maybe a little limpy. We're talking about a kicker who's a little shaky. But nobody seems to have any problems at all for one reason, because you can't score a lot on the Eagles. That is the X factor. You cannot score. It is you can look at all you want about the year Saquon's had, and it's been a fantastic year. But the major difference that this team is a Super Bowl contender is because they put together one of the great defenses we've ever seen. And it was completely unexpected.
Completely unexpected is right. I mean, we were talking all summer long. We were just hoping that the defense could get into the middle of the pack. You know, how much of an improvement can Vic Fangio make? How much are you going to get from the rookies? Are they going to be able to contribute at all? Number one in the NFL? Like, literally number one in the NFL. They went from being one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and you look at that collapse from last season, they were by far the worst defense in the NFL, to now being able to shut down absolutely everybody. And that's why I think you're right, that's why people aren't as nervous. And the Packers defense is good too, but some of the stats you pointed out to start the show, they haven't been as good on the road. They haven't been as good away from Lambeau Field. This team can just beat in so many ways. And something Sirianni was asked at his press conference earlier. This is the first time they're going to have all three guys, Smith, AJ, and Goddard together in how long? So you got the defense, you have the offense, you have all those weapons, you have this offensive line. It's very hard to find weaknesses with the Philadelphia Eagles.
I can't normally. I never go to and give a coordinator most of the credit, but. It's really hard. Saquon sounded like an all-world year where we almost broke up. The MVP for me for this Eagles team has been the defensive coordinator. The job he did in forming this defense, which looked really shaky early in this season, right? We didn't know what kind of defense we had. We're like, where's the pass rush going to come from? These linebackers. All of a sudden, boom. Now, Howie deserves credit for getting Zach Bond, but that also was kind of a Fangio influence, right? To grab that guy and play him in that position. Who knew Nakobe Dean was going to progress? We knew Jalen Carter was a stud, but where were we going to get the pass rush from? We were worried about that. They managed to manage through it. And, of course, they were helped by two rookies who really solidified it. But the group overall as a unit plays really together, and that goes to one man.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you. Vic Fangio has been better than advertised. And it's just interesting because when he left Miami, the Dolphins players were excited to see him go. So some of us were questioning, well, what kind of coach are we actually getting? Is he going to be able to connect with these players? These players love this guy. Absolutely love him. So, look, that first game against the Packers put up 414 yards. They averaged 7.8 yards per carry. There is no way in hell that happens on Sunday against this version of the Eagles defense now that they've figured out Fangio's system. It's just not going to happen.
No, I totally agree with you. All right, you're listening to the Mike Missanelli Show live from Rally House, and you're also listening to WPEN and WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. All right, so we have 1 hour left of our Football Friday show. I got to give credit to Notre Dame fans, except the weasels that work at our own station. We have not had one gloating Notre Dame call today. And I set them up to gloat, man. Yesterday, I was relentless with how could you be Notre Dame fan? You have no connection to school, that whole blah, blah, blah. But they proved to me last night that they were the better team. And they were unfazed in that game. And it was impressive. I got to give them a lot of credit to the way they were coached. You know, Penn State looked like they were going to blow them out early. They weathered the storm. They stayed close. Then they took a lead. Penn State tied it, and they still kept their poise. It was an impressive display by Notre Dame last night.
Yeah, I'm surprised that more people haven't tried to gloat on you, Mike. I am. And I was rooting for the Nittany Lions, so I'm not.
You are rooting for Nittany Lions?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people at the station that said they were rooting for Nittany Lions that actually weren't rooting for Nittany Lions. They were just trying to appease me. I think there was a lot of fists that were thrown in the air when that field goal went through for Notre Dame.
I know a lot of people, and not only you, a lot of people who either went to Penn State or had family members go to Penn State. So I would have liked to have seen Penn State win. It's been since 1986, right? Is the last time they've been to a national championship game? That's the book you wrote, right?
Yes.
So, look, you know.
I've actually seen them win 2 national championships. I was there at the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans in 1983 when they won. And then 3 years later, they come back and beat Miami in that upset. And you're thinking, oh, man, look at this. Many national championships are to follow. And look at the drought that's been.
Yeah, it did not happen that way. Well, what did Doug Peterson say back in 2017? This is the new normal. Now Doug Peterson's looking for a job after he got fired for the second time. So you got to cherish what you have. That's why we do have to cherish this Eagles team we have in front of us right now. They've won 14 damn games. They have a good team on both sides of the football. There's no guarantee at how things go next year. That's why I've been saying for a few weeks, I think it's Super Bowl or bust. This may be the best chance they have. Now, they're set up for the future. This team is young on defense. They got a lot of players under contract. But you look at this team right now, and you look at the NFC, there's no reason this can't be the year. And you got to take advantage of it because you don't know how long it will last.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I only tweeted 4 times last night.
About Penn State?
During that game.
That's because you were.
And no.
You were puckering.
No, I really wasn't. My first tweet of the night was when I saw Notre Dame's running back Jeremiah Love.
And you saw.
I've never seen this before, and I want to run this by you and run it by all football people. Jeremiah Love, the running back for Notre Dame, played last night with a metal brace. I don't think I have ever seen a running back play with a metal brace, and I wondered whether you were allowed to play with a metal brace. Now think about this: you're tackling a guy low. You're tackling a guy. Isn't it dangerous to tackle a metal brace? Now, offensive linemen wear it, but they wear it for support. They're not tackling anybody, and you can't go low on an offensive lineman anyway. It's against the rules. But you have to tackle running backs, especially powerful running backs. You have to tackle them low every now and then. I've never seen a running back wear a metal knee brace and play football.
Did they say that on the broadcast?
No, it was not addressed.
I saw the brace. I didn't realize it was metal, though.
Well, yeah, it's one of those offensive lineman braces that has the metal things on the side for stability.
So there's no rule against them.
Is there not? I guess there is no rule, but why wouldn't there be a rule? Isn't that dangerous to tackle that?
I don't know. I was surprised to see him leap a defender with that.
You're tackling with your arms, right? And you tackle a guy at that area of his metal brace. Can you not get cut?
Are you sure it's made of metal?
Yes, it was a brace he wore. It was an offensive lineman. Well, it might be a titanium, but whatever it is, it's a hard material.
I mean,
it's got the metal hinge to it. It may be titanium or something, but it's got a hinge on it. The hinge was metal.
Is it that much different than a helmet or shoulder pads or any of the other equipment that we wear as football players?
You know that hinge, right?
Yeah, you think that could cut somebody.
You don't think it could?
I don't. I've never, in all the years watching football, I've ever seen someone get cut from a brace. I mean, guys wear them on their arms. All the linemen wear them on their leg. I've never seen anybody get cut because of it. Look, Jalen Hurts wore a brace last year. On his knee.
On his knee? What, wasn't it covered up?
He covered it with his sock.
It was covered.
But I think it was covered more so because they were trying to hide it, less because it's going to cut somebody.
The point was it was covered. I've never seen a running back with an open metal brace where you have to tackle that brace.
Wait, am I hearing that you're going to challenge their victory now?
No.
Is it under review?
He wasn't that dynamic of a player last night. He did 45 yards for them last night. That was my first tweet at the start of the game. I go, wait a minute, is he wearing a metal? I thought he was wearing it pregame just to give his knee support because he was hurt. And that when the game started, they would wrap it. I've never really seen a running back that wear what an offensive lineman wears.
Yeah, I think the mobility would be tough, but I don't know. I don't think there's a rule against it. It's an interesting point, though, Mike. I'm glad you're grasping for anything.
I'm glad.
No, I wasn't grasping for anything because I that was my first tweet of the night.
Did people
Which
come
was
after you?
was before the game. I said, I don't ever think I've seen a running back wear a metal knee brace. Isn't that dangerous for a defensive player to tackle? That's all I tweeted. That was my first tweet of the night. My second tweet of the night was, Aller not sharp early. My third tweet of the night was when Aller had Nicholas Singleton alone for a touchdown and threw it low and behind him on like a 10-yard flip pass. Terrible throw by Aller there. He doesn't look poised nor confident tonight.
Yeah, he did not.
And my final post was, Penn State better scheme some intermediate throws or this game is history.
So you were pretty spot on with that one.
I was pretty spot on. You can't win a game, a big bowl game, when your wide receivers don't have a catch. Look at Notre Dame's wide receivers. Notre Dame's wide receivers last night had, let's see, one guy had 7 catches, another guy had 5, another guy had 2 more, the tight end had 5, and another wide receiver had 1. They had almost 18 catches with their wide receivers.
And how many did Penn State have?
Penn State had 0.
Yeah, I don't even know how that's possible.
It's impossible.
Don't know how it's possible. But big news is talking about wide receivers.
Yes, let's get to this news. Eagle news, and it's not great news. Go ahead.
Devontae Smith is missing practice with back tightness. So now they get A.J. Brown back today at practice, but no Devontae Smith. I don't know, man. Hopefully it's just precautionary.
Well, they're keeping him out of the cold. So back tightness in the cold probably would not be good. Probably more precautionary than anything. But A.J. Brown was back at practice, so no Devontae, back tightness and keeping him out of the cold. I don't think it would be anything that a massage and some heat therapy would,
But it's going to be cold on Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, it is going to be cold. But like I say, when you have to play, it's one thing to practice with back tightness and cold. It's another thing when you have to play and suck it up, and maybe you get some heat before you go into the game, and you're fine.
Yeah, hopefully
and you warm up. All right, 610-632-0975 is how you get in. Tim McManus will join us in just a little bit, and we'll talk about those circumstances that happened in practice today. But I want to know your confidence level right now in the Eagles. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that it's at a solid 10 because nobody seems to be freaked at all by anything that can happen in this game to make the Eagles lose. The Mike Missanelli Show, we're live at Rally House. We'll grow back after this. It's 112, Mike Missanelli Show, live from Rally House today. And, we're holding it down here. Bill just went into his statistical analysis. This is very helpful. The Eagles, a steady 5-point favorite in this game. Not even people from Green Bay think that the Green Bay Packers can win this game. We had John Kuhn on. Your first day sick, we had John Kuhn on, who was the remember John Kuhn, the fullback the Green Bay had for a while?
Yeah, he wore like number 40 or something.
He went to Shippensburg.
Yeah, I remember him.
He's from York, PA.
Yeah, it's near Gettysburg, man.
Yeah.
I used to play my hockey games in York. Gettysburg's home ice hockey rink. We played at York.
You played hockey for Gettysburg?
Yeah, football and ice hockey.
You did?
Yeah. I was an ice hockey player, man, from when I was like 6.
Ice hockey, a legit team or club team?
It's D3 club, but it's competitive. We played teams like Loyola, Wagner. I'm trying to remember what other teams we played. But Dickinson. It was fun.
What position did you play?
In high school, I played defense. In college, I played center.
You were a center? You were a stocky center?
Dude, I was like 245
You're like
in
Mel
college.
Bridgman?
I was 245 in college, too, on skates. And when you started skating at 6, you could skate. I mean, I could move. So for my size, it was fun hitting.
You must have been terror out there.
Yeah, I was kind of a bruiser.
How much did you spend in the penalty box? A lot.
A lot. Yeah. I remember one time there was
I don't know why you like the Flyers.
There was a good-looking woman running the board one time, sitting in the penalty box. I kept getting penalties to go into the box, and the coach said to me, he goes, "You get one more penalty, you're benched for the whole game." He knew why I kept going in there.
You got penalties so you could talk to the girl?
Yeah.
What was the conversation?
I don't remember.
Come on.
I don't remember.
You're on the spot. You got to come up with lines. You're in the penalty box. What do you say to a girl that it's in the penalty box that you like?
I don't know, but I just spilled on my notes here. You got me all flustered now.
Yeah, well, I want to know.
I don't remember what Meathead Bill was talking about back then. I was a big meathead in college, man.
You probably did something like this. My name's Bill. I know you're watching me play hockey, but I'm also a football player. And, they play Mr. Touchdown every time I catch a pass. Did you say that kind of stuff?
No. I don't remember.
Do you know I'm a star football player here?
I honestly don't remember the conversation. I just remember the coach telling me I was going to get benched if I got one more penalty because it was obvious that I was doing it on purpose.
Ray, let's go back to the text board. Do we have anything of note on the text board for today?
You got a lot of depressed Penn State fans. I mean,
let's hear from the depressed Penn State fans, and then I want to, just for the Notre Dame fans, I want to play the golden moments of last night's game.
All right, so we got a couple people, let's see, check it in across the board here. People were upset with the Penn State attire being worn. Jim from Satterton, Mike is 100% spot on. You can't wear your Penn State stuff today or even anytime soon. I still haven't worn any Phillies gear since they lost to the Mets and won't till catches and pitchers.
So people don't know, there were a couple of people that came into the Rally House today sporting Penn State stuff, and one guy was mad at me. Did you see? He was like...
He gave you the wave.
Yeah,
get out of here.
He gave me. He's a big guy too. I know he came over to kick my ass now, but he's wearing a Penn State hat. And then we have somebody with a Penn State sweatshirt coming on, and I go, that's a violation. You can't. It's like somebody died suddenly, and the next day you wear their portrait on your sweatshirt.
Well, you're honoring them.
No.
I think
that probably wasn't the best analogy, but I think you want to mourn first, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, these people.
You mourn before you honor. All right. So what else we got there?
Andrew from North Carolina. Al's performance was just bleak, just like Franklin. He can't show up in the big games. The Penn State story will forever stay the same. Good enough to stay in the conversation, never good enough to win it all.
I know a lot of people would like to pin this on Franklin, and maybe they're right about it. Maybe he just is immune to winning a big game. But the quarterback that Penn State had last night disappointed me because he was flat out scared.
Yeah, you're right. And this is why my opinions kind of changed throughout the show, because at first I was thinking like you, hey, it's Drew Aller, it's not on the head coach. As a head coach, it's your job. We all saw it watching it on television that Drew Aller looked like the moment was too big. You have to do something to get him into a rhythm. You got to do something to get that kid comfortable, because clearly he's like a deer in headlights, and they never did it. They never did anything to make him comfortable. And what happens in the biggest moment of the game, he throws back across his body in the middle of the field, interception,
Notre Dame wins it.
Yeah, and listen, I agree with all that. You got to scheme and get the kid some confidence. But when you've played 3 years and you're a highly touted quarterback and you look like a deer in headlights, and first of all, his body language, he was almost like crying when he would make a mistake. I mean, you got to be a stoic leader. And for the first time, I looked at the kid and I go, yeah, he's got talent, and he probably will get drafted after next year. But the demeanor, shook me a little bit last night. He wasn't ready to play. He didn't have the eye of the tiger in a game where he needed to have the eye of the tiger. So let's just squash me more and play that moment where, for some reason, he decides to throw a ball into the middle of the field while his weight is transferring backwards with a man in his face. And this is called by the Notre Dame broadcasting team.
Ball's at their own 28. Quick snap for Aller, looking left. Can't get it out. Now pressure coming. Aller throws. Loose ball. Yes! Intercepted. Christian Gray picks it off at the 42-yard line. Notre Dame will get the ball back with 33 seconds left in the game. What a big-time pick from Christian Gray.
Yeah, Christian Gray, come on.
Big time
I could have made that interception. It was thrown right in the middle of the field. It's there for you to pluck like a peach off a tree. All right, let's get to a break. I don't even want to play the game-winning field goal. I see that family, that kid, so sure he's going to make it. The father's videoing it.
Keeter.
610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues. Tim McManus coming up shortly. 125 on the Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic, doing the show live today from Rally House in Willow Grove, and, of course, on Football Friday. We can't wait to talk to the man who covers the Eagles with kind of a couple subplots today for practice. Let's welcome in the man who covers the Birds for ESPN.com. The great Tim McManus joins us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Hello, Timmy.
Hello, Mike. What's going on, man?
Well, we see that Devontae Smith sniffed back and not at practice in the cold weather, but A.J. Brown back, and the quarterback has cleared the protocol. So, two good newses and then one maybe iffy news. What light can you shed on the Devontae Smith situation?
Yeah, so what I was told is that he was dealing with back stiffness, and because it was cold and that kind of thing, they didn't want it to flare up in front of this game. So they anticipate him playing, Mike, but wanted to be, conservative in this practice just to make sure they don't worsen it. But they do expect Devontae Smith to play.
All right, so when we look at this team, he talked a couple days ago about the connectivity that this team has, and I actually thought he did a pretty good job trying to explain that thing. But you're around this team right now. What do you think their spirits are going into this playoff season?
I think that they're in a good place, honestly. And one of the telling quotes, I think, from the locker room yesterday was with Jordan Mailata. And the question was, what is different about this team compared to the one last year? And the first thing he said is that, the hunger is definitely greater with this one. He mentioned that there's some younger players that have helped inspire that. But the second part of that, he said that there's a collective chip on everybody's shoulder because of how last season finished. So really all year, I feel like they've been locked in. I mean, they don't want to have that same kind of taste. I think that the failure of last year has not been able to kind of rinse off very easily. And I think it's been a driving force for this team all year. At the same time, they've had a lighter feel about them overall. Like coming off of that Super Bowl loss, like it always felt a lot dimmer than really it should have. Even after wins, it was almost like if they were coming off of a loss. There's a better spirit to this team. They don't take themselves quite as seriously in that way. They enjoy their victories. And so it seems like they're in a determined quality mindset heading into the playoffs.
How much have you gotten a chance to see Jalen Hurts practice? And if so, what are you seeing?
So we don't get a ton. I mean, we're only out there for the first 5-10 minutes of practice. And so some of that is him just stretching, throwing a medicine ball around, doing drills where he's hurdling a pad and doing some throws that way. Sometimes where he's rolling out. But, from what we've seen, I mean, it looks like normal Jalen Hurts where he's throwing with authority. The passes have been on point. He's been running around, and so there's nothing like if you didn't know he had a concussion and you're just watching him relative to other warm-up practices, you wouldn't see really any difference.
Now, I don't know how they're going to handle this game plan-wise, but if Tim McManus is advising Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore, I'm looking at Green Bay. They're pretty good against the run, and I assume that they're going to plan that the Eagles are going to start off feeding Saquon Barkley right away. I think the ultimate curveball might be you go the other way. You get A.J. Brown involved quickly by throwing the ball against them. Their defensive numbers, Green Bay, are not as good on the road as home. So what do you expect this offensive game plan to look like early?
So if we go back to week one, Hurts was unsteady for sure. It was Lane Johnson called it the worst first quarter that they've had this year. And they've had a lot of bad first quarters. And that was Hurts dropping back, and he had some interceptions and some lost fumbles. And now he's coming off of a week where obviously he's had the layoff because of the concussion. But also he hasn't really been able to work with A.J. Brown. Brown's back on the field today, but they haven't really had that opportunity to establish a connection. And now Devontae Smith is not practicing in this one, Mike. So it makes for kind of a weird situation in terms of, how fluid is the pass game going to be right out of the chute. I think that there's obviously going to be times throughout the course of this game where they're going to try to take advantage of what should be a very favorable matchup on the outside with their wide receivers against the Green Bay cornerbacks. But I don't think that's something that you go crazy with early. I mean, this whole season has been predicated, the turnaround was predicated on Saquon Barkley leaning into the offensive line, leaning into that ground game, and kind of doing the opposite of what they did to open the game in Sao Paulo, Brazil against the Packers week 1. So, I think that they're going to want to get Saquon Barkley going, sort of get some easy passes for Hurts, get him back in a rhythm with his receivers, and take off from there.
All right, so you play the hits and you
I
ease
think
into
so.
the game. And, because everybody's worried. Jalen Hurts hasn't played in a long time, and people that are worried say, well, he might be a little rusty.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a legitimate concern. He hasn't really played in games since December 22nd, and he didn't start practicing again until Wednesday. And this whole Brown stuff's a little funky. Like, I saw him walking off the field on Wednesday after like 5 minutes, Mike, with a staffer. And what I was told was that was part of the plan. But that's a weird plan. Like, why do you have your star receiver go out there for 5 minutes and then go back in and not practice the rest of the day? And then the day after that, he's not even on the field. So obviously they're managing something with that knee. And even though there have been tons of reps between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown dating back several seasons now, like, is he just going to be in that flow instantaneously, given that he is coming off a concussion, hasn't played in the game in several weeks, hasn't been able to work with his wide receivers? And so at some point, obviously, you're going to have to unleash it through the air. But yeah, I think I would play the hits early.
Tim, most of the people we've spoken to seem pretty confident that the Eagles win this game, but I have seen some concerned, if you're an Eagles fan, and some Packers fans hopeful that maybe this plays out like the wild card game did last year against Dallas, where no one really gave the Packers a chance, and they go into the Dallas stadium and dominate. Jordan Love throws for over 270, 3 touchdowns, and they pretty much blow him out of the building. Why is that not going to happen at Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday?
Well, the Eagles are the better team by a pretty wide margin if you're looking for straight talent. And they just haven't really shown too many signs of vulnerability throughout the course of the year. So I think, generally speaking, fans should walk into the playoffs and this game in particular confident, even though there are a couple hesitations out there given the recent pop-up of wide receiver injuries and that kind of thing, and Hurts having to lay off. But, that being said, I don't think this is the best matchup for Philadelphia. Like, for an example, defensively, Green Bay has a pretty stout defense. And one thing that they major in is zone coverage. Whereas ideally, if you're drawing up an opponent for the Eagles, you're drawing up a team that relies more on their man coverage, because that creates one-on-ones for A.J. Brown, and it turns the defenders' backs to Jalen Hurts that allows him to run. And they're not going to get a whole lot of that. They have some confusing looks with the variations of cover 2 that they use that can manipulate quarterbacks into throws that they shouldn't be making. And then on the other side of the ball, with Josh Jacobs in the ground game, if there is an area of vulnerability for this defense, it's against the run. And when Vic Fangio was asked this week, like, what do you think about your state of the ground game? He was like, that's a good question. Like, we've had some really good games and we've had some really not so good games, and some that landed in the middle. Clearly it's on his mind and is going to be one of the major factors in this game. So, the Packers come in with all of that, and then obviously a quarterback in Jordan Love who's very capable of getting hot. He's streaky, so it could go the other way, and the Eagles could roll. But he is capable of those tight window throws, making some magic happen. And so it's a dangerous team. It's not one that obviously the Eagles are going to be taken lightly. And if they're clicking on all cylinders, I think it could be a heavyweight fight.
Talking to Tim McManus, covers Eagles for ESPN.com. Tim, have you had a chance to see Jake Elliott kick practice-wise in this cold weather?
So yeah, I've been watching him a little bit, Mike, and really my eyes have been trained on him for the past several weeks. And so basically it's the same kind of stuff. Now, the last few weeks the last few days, I should say, there's swirling winds, it's colder, so it's making the conditions tougher. Generally speaking, what we've seen out of Elliott over the course of the last handful of weeks is like within 50 yards during practice, he's been fine. He's been on point. Kicks have been going through. It's really when you get past 50 yards where it just becomes a high wire act where you don't know what you're going to get. And that includes on the practice field and also during warm-ups pregame. So that obviously plays out with the numbers statistically, where he's only made one kick from 50 yards all season long. And so that changes sort of the game plan here a little bit, where you can't rely fully on Elliott making those longer kicks, and so that's going to have to alter Sirianni's thinking when it comes to, all right, now it's fourth down and they're on the, it's the 42-yard line or whatever it is. Like, I think that you're going to have the green light to go for it a little bit more because of the inconsistency that we've seen out of Elliott.
Which leads me to my next scenario, which we discussed a little earlier. It's just a hypothetical scenario, and I want to run it by you. It's late in the game. It's 1:38 left. The Eagles are at the 35-yard line, 4th and 3 in a tie game. Are you sending him out to kick the 52-yarder, or are you going to try to convert that first down?
Oh, man, now I know why it's no fun being in Sirianni's shoes. That's not a great...
Because you're going... if he misses it, you're giving them the ball back to win the game where they have to go maybe 35 yards.
I think I would put Elliott out there. I think I would put for a 52-yarder.
Yes.
I think I'd put him out there. I think I would put him out there. If it got past, especially watching him as much as I have, during warm-ups, once it gets to, 54 yards, it's I don't trust it. 52, I would be a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I think I would send him out there.
So 52 is the max.
That, in my mind, that's the max. I don't know where their line is, and of course it depends on that day and how much the wind is swirling and that kind of stuff. But yeah, for me, that's about the end of my comfort level with Elliott.
All right, sounds good. Let's get your prediction. I think you think the Eagles are going to win this game. I don't know if you think they're going to cover. What do you got?
I think so. I'm going to go 27-24 Eagles.
27-24, not a cover.
Oh, yeah, it's a cover, right?
No, 5-point line, brother.
Oh, it's a 5-point line. That's right.
It's going up to 5.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it started 3.5 and moved to 5. Excuse me. So, yeah, not a cover. I'm picking a field goal win for the Eagles. I can see a scenario where maybe Hurts in the offense looks a little sluggish to start out. Fans get nervous. The Packers jump up to a lead, but then they settle in. Saquon Barkley takes over the game. Hurts finds his rhythm, and the Eagles escape to move on to the divisional round.
All righty. Sounds good. Timmy, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you.
All right, guys. See ya.
Tim McManus covering the Eagles for ESPN.com. So he's got the Eagles with a field goal win, but he's like you. He would try to kick that field goal to win the game, or at least to put them ahead by 3, a 52-yarder. And if you miss it, you probably lose the game.
Yeah, I still haven't lost confidence in Jake Elliott, man. Until he misses a kick in a big moment like that, I think he has the clutch gene. I know you said it disappears quickly in kickers.
The clutch gene has not appeared at 50 yards plus this year.
Well, it did a couple weeks ago when he had to make that kick.
At 50.
At 50. So 52, I'm still going with Jake.
All right, 610-632-0975. You want to squeeze in as we come down the home stretch. Mike Missanelli Show continues after this.
Tyrone
deal with. And also a reminder on 97.5 The Fanatic tonight, 7 o'clock, you got the Sixers hosting the New Orleans Pels. Zion is back. Let me read here the injury report for the Sixers.
Do we have enough time?
Oh, man, this is really shocking. This is shocking. Joel Embiid, day-to-day with a foot, won't play. Andre Drummond, day-to-day with a toe, won't play. Kyle Lowry, day-to-day with a hip, won't play. Paul George is day-to-day with a groin. I don't know if he's going to play or not. KJ Martin is out with a foot. So there you go, folks. Enjoy your evening down there at the Wells Fargo Center. Have fun watching.
Yeah. And then the Sixers dropped
a Dembona and the boys try to tee one up tonight.
And the Sixers dropped the news last night. Jared McCain out for the season, as we expected, but they made it official last night.
Yeah. So. All right, we have a text on the tush push, a text on the passing plan for this game, and a text on the kicker, which is a major factor in this game. Ray, what do you got?
All right, let's start with the kicker here. Texter checking in. Bill, the man said beyond 50 yards, he stinks in practice. He stinks in warm-ups, and he stinks in the game. I don't think they want them kicking, Jake Kelly kicking beyond 50 yards.
I am not kicking that ball. I know Bill and Tim McManus said I am actually going for that. If I don't make it, I'm going to trust my defense to hold that team down and maybe get it into overtime. I am not giving them the ball near midfield where they have to go 30 yards to win the game.
Let me just play that out a little more for you.
Go ahead.
So we're saying under 2 minutes, tie game.
1:38 left. Right. Tie game, 35-yard line, 4th and 3.
All right. So do you have confidence if you convert the first down that you're going to go down the field and score a touchdown?
No, but I
So what are you going to have to do?
You're going to have to kick it anyway.
All right, so you just told your kicker, I have zero confidence in you, and now I'm going to rely on you to kick a game-winning field goal for maybe 4 or 5.
Because he has confidence when it's not 50 yards. I'm actually doing him a favor.
I don't know, man. I think you give him a shot. If you would kick it from 49, why not from 52?
Because 52 is different than 49, and he's 1 for 8. From that distance.
3 yards. 3
yards apparently makes a lot of difference in that man's head. All right, what's our next push? Our next text.
All right, next text here. Unnamed texter responding to the plan to get them going with the passing game. Packers will be ready for the short passes that the Eagles want to do to get him in rhythm. So it seems the unnamed texter is against trying to go pass early.
Okay. Yeah, they're not. They'd be foolish to outsmart themselves when they've got, the running game that they have. And I also think it just plays perfectly into starting Jalen Hurts off slow where you don't have to make a key throw early and get some rhythm.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I think the worst thing that they could do was you come out, you try to force the passing game, and God forbid it results in a turnover, and now you put yourself behind the 8 ball, you give some momentum to the Packers.
Oh, there's that 8 ball again.
Behind it.
Bill just can't get rid of the hockey.
Behind it. Well, that's not hockey. That's
total hockey behind the 8 ball. Every hockey player uses the 8 ball.
The 8 ball is
everyone.
The 5 hole is what you're talking about.
You just have an 8 ball jacket. You look like a guy who would have an 8 ball jacket.
No, I used to have the 8 ball though. Are the Eagles going to win?
Oh, did you?
Shake it. Right. Remember that?
What's next with the tush push?
Brandon has no idea what I'm talking about.
Unnamed first-time texter here. With Hurts coming out of concussion protocol, does that take the tush push out of the short yardage game plan for this weekend?
Hell no. Hell no. Jalen, you're cleared. Dig in there.
Yeah, and he didn't get hurt on the tush push. He got hurt on a scramble. But he does need to do a good job of protecting himself. You can't get Jalen Hurts injured. He needs to know, get the yardage, get out of bounds, or get down.
That's a weapon. You burrow. Yeah, when you burrow in that tush push, you're not absorbing a head. Yeah, I mean, you're getting bodies on you. You get a lot of weight on you. You get squeezed. But it's very rarely you're going to take a headshot there if you get low enough, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't think. It's more they're just pulling on you, and it's uncomfortable. But it's when he scrambles that you're worried.
All right, let's go to the phones. We have Robert's been hanging on for a long time. Robert, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up?
Mikey, it is wonderful to hear you back on the radio sport waves, my friend. It's been a long time. When did you get back on the Fanatic?
Last August. What, news doesn't come to your house? Pony Express where you live? What's going on?
I'll tell you something, Mike. The reality of it is, since you went off the air, I stopped listening because anybody but you is like the TMZ of sports, and you lay it down the way it is and always appreciate, your acumen, if you will. So I was scrolling through, was between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I caught you on, and I didn't have a chance to give you a holler, but I wanted to just welcome you back. And
well, I appreciate that, Robert. Thank you. I'm messing with you. You're in Chester Springs. I don't know. I don't know what news gets it down there at Chester Springs. You know what I'm saying?
It's still the Pony Express, Mike. You know, at the end of the day. But you and I go back.
The mailman calling sick down there.
I don't know if you remember me or not, Mike, but I actually attended the Donovan McNabb event that you had way back in the day. So I don't know if you remember that or not.
I do remember
Donovan
that.
McNabb,
Yes.
Great debate.
Yes, absolutely. I do remember you, Robert.
But in reaching out to you, I agree with you 100%. This Eagles team, Fangio is definitely the MVP of this squad. I am not a big fan. In fact, I believe Art across the barrel on this team is the offensive coordinator. I am not a Kellen Moore fan. I mean, the way this team has started throughout the entire season, I believe they're winning really purely based just talent. It's just the talent on that offensive roster that's winning these games.
Well, listen, Kellen Moore has been adaptable. You know, he's a guy that saw what the strengths were of this team, and he listened to people. And so where, you know, it defeats his fanciness, so to speak, he knows where the bread's buttered, right? You got to get the ball to an all-world running back who almost set the all-time record. So I actually think Kellen Moore's done a great job.
Well, I disagree with that because I believe you have two pieces on the outside that aren't utilized in the right way. There's not enough motion on the offense, and you need to.
Well, how could you argue with what they've done?
They're 14-3.
I mean, the total yards, they're fifth in the league. Like the numbers are really good. They're first in the league in total yards per game. They're second in points per game.
That's the defense.
Oh, that's defense. I'm sorry. The offense. They're eighth in total yards per game.
Yeah, still top
7th in points per game. Rush yards per game, second.
They're right. Saquon Barkley, thank God, that offensive line, which is absolutely, if not the best, one of the best in the league. You have two pieces on the outside and a tight end that we really, in my mind, have not utilized appropriately. Even the running back.
Well, I will tell you this, and thanks for the call, Robert. I will tell you this. It's fair to say that they didn't target. I've been saying this for so long. People are probably tired of hearing me saying it. There's one unstoppable pass play on this team, and they don't milk it. Now, maybe it's because defenses try to take it away, but even if they try to take it away, that dude is unstoppable with an intermediate slant, and they don't go to it enough.
Yeah, you're talking about A.J. Brown.
Yes.
Look, we've talked at length in previous weeks about the passing game, and I know you look at them being 29th in the NFL, and it's easy to say, Kellen Moore should be doing more. They're winning games, and they're doing what works. It's a recipe that works. They're in the top 10 of almost every single category outside of passing yards. They're top 10 on third down. I think if you're not a good offensive coordinator, you don't have that. They don't have that high of a third down conversion rate. I have no problem.
The problem is he was advertised as this guy was going to utilize all kinds of pre-snap motion, this and that, and they realized we don't really have to with this team. We can play this straight and beat teams.
Yeah, I mean, we went over this a lot too before. He's never had a quarterback like Jalen Hurts. He's probably never really had a running back like Saquon. I know he had Zeke and he had Tony Pollard, but Saquon's on a completely different level. So when you have those two weapons in the running game, why not utilize it? The team's 14-3. To say you don't have confidence in the offensive coordinator on a 14-3 football team, I just can't get there.
Yeah. All right, I got you. Is it time for closing arguments? I believe it is. Closing arguments.
Now, closing arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit LowenThalAbrams.com.
All right, time for closing arguments. My closing argument is really simple. The Eagles will win this game. I have no fear at all. Hey, listen, if it comes down, it's a three-point game. You need a field goal to tie it. It's over 50 yards. Maybe I worry then, but I don't worry coming into this game. The Packers are a decidedly different team on the road than they are at home. I think the Eagles are going to be able to score on them. I think they'll be able to control the ball after that with the running game, and in the second half, just bury this team. And I believe that they will cover the 5. I believe that they will win this game by 10 points, Bill. I'm looking at like a 27-17 piece for your Philadelphia Eagles, and they move on and face another team that they should be able to beat. And this is the road to Ford Field in Detroit. This is what I'm calling it for the Philadelphia Eagles. Detroit is the only thing that could stand in their way of getting to a Super Bowl.
I'm not there with you on the Detroit conversation, but I am there with you for this Sunday. I think the Eagles win this game easily. The more the week has gone on and the more we've learned that Jalen Hurts is fine and now A.J. Brown's fine. I know Devontae's out today, but that looks like a precautionary thing. I think this team wins, and I think they win big. I actually have them winning by 14. 31-17. I don't think it's ever going to be close. I think they rely on that rushing attack, and you're going to see Saquon Barkley have a huge day.
All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to the show. Thanks to Bill for coming in. A little under the weather with the voice. A lot of people here to thank that helped us put this broadcast. Brandon did a nice job for us. Aaron, Matt, of course, the King, Rodney. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. Bill. They did a great job producing it for us. And thanks, everybody who stopped by to say hello. Have a great rest of the night. Have a great weekend. You got a lot of hours until we get to 425 with the Eagles and the Green Bay Packers at Lincoln Financial Field. So, everybody, take care out there. Be safe. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Fanatic